onto the stream in 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to another episode of the Post-Tourney, Post-CGS Roundtable. This is our second official post-roundtable. How are we all doing today? Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Phil.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm doing good. How are we feeling post CGS? Are we ready for another one like next weekend?
Oh my god.
Yes.
I'm ready to go.
Someone wanna dig a hole for me real
Ready
quick so I
to
can
do
crawl
another
into?
one.
Rest first.
Easy. We can do it right now. No.
Oh my
What
god.
is that? What's
I mean,
rest?
it's pretty easy to do pretty fast, but I mean, if we wanted to make it look really good, we need a lot of time. Like
Do I
even
need
with
to-
It's
You
okay.
open
It could
up
be
our
like
DMs.
a grassroots type of thing. Everybody could just take their phones, make sure that they're recording their screens.
Oh, yeah, it
that
sounds
way.
Oh my
great.
god.
Go for the unregistered Hypercam 2 look.
We
Oh,
can make it look like we're back in the
Oh.
90s.
oh my god. But it has now been officially 2 weeks since we finished that last tournament. Right? It's been 2 weeks now. I'm not crazy.
Oh my god.
Feels like
I
Yeah.
have no idea.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
sense of time
Yeah, because we
anymore.
had the beta.
Yeah.
And then now, yeah.
Yeah, especially,
Yeah.
especially with the
Goodness,
open
it
beta.
has.
It's only been a week since Wilds.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I already miss it.
Oh,
It's back.
That's wild.
That's wild.
oh my
Oh,
god.
I can't believe you said the thing.
Original.
That,
What's that?
that's
Is
what I'm
that-
gonna be like this whole playthrough. I'm gonna be playing through the story with my wife, and something's gonna happen. I'm just gonna be like, man, that's wild.
Wild,
Yeah.
bro.
What's sad is I say wild a lot before wilds came
Yes,
out. So
same.
now every
Yeah,
time
you
I
can't.
say it,
Now
everyone's
it's-
like, oh my god, she said the thing. I'm like, I used to say the thing all the time.
Yeah, I said the thing before the thing became the thing.
For your Monster Hunter Wild game. Hey, we really was wild.
You manifested it with all your Wilds talk.
Oh my god, man.
But what's really cool is I think a lot of people don't realize that a lot of work went into creating CGS. Like we were
Mhm.
joking, like, oh yeah, we could do one like right now, but it's like, no.
No.
No, we could not do one right now.
Yeah,
No,
not at all.
not at all.
No.
Unless you want the camera recorder footage.
Yeah.
Actually,
Exactly.
I have a pretty good question to kick things off, because we have a pretty good mix of people that are both legacy, CGS, and if we including like our pilot, the Monster Hunter speedrunning tournament that we did, the Invitational.
Mhm.
In addition to a couple of new faces, how did you guys feel about working this CGS, especially because we had the this is now our third tournament, including the pilot, right? How do we feel in general? And I'm actually very interested in knowing, not to put you on the spot, Bagel, but I'm actually very interested to know what your perspective is now that you've been a part of every single tournament, both as a competitor and as staff.
Yeah. So I mean, definitely we've enhanced and we've honed and we've really listened to like everyone, myself included, on like how can we like fix it and enhance it from one iteration to the next, right?
Yeah.
And so if we take it all the way back to MHSR, the Invitational, that was our proof of concept, right?
Mhm.
And I mean, Phil, like you and I, we literally just did everything. Like
Yep.
you did all of the back end, I did all of the front end. We didn't like share responsibility with anyone. We didn't have like leads. We didn't have people to like. We literally just ran it. So
Yep.
like anything that had to do with people on screen was me, and anything that had to do with running the stream was you, and then that was it. And that was way too much for either of us, because even like between sets, I'm like trying to get people to where they need to be, and then also trying to do commentary at the same time, and then also trying to make sure that the commentators are ready for the next like for the next segment. And then you were trying to grab clips, trying to fix scenes, trying to fill out information, and it was just way too much.
Yep.
This iteration, I can't speak on the back end stuff for the second one because I really wasn't involved with it, but for Rise2Glory, I think we had an incredible strategy we had a lot of redundancy, at least in the majority of like the planning. I'd say like there was about a 60% redundancy, you know, especially for like the stage crew side of it. Like we ran stuff incredibly smoothly. There were times where I was like, what do we need to do right now? It's like, oh, we don't need to do anything for like the next 30 minutes. Okay, cool. What are we gonna do? I'll play Destiny 2 or Final Fantasy. You play Call of Duty. All right, cool. You're gonna play Call of Duty. All right, so make sure that like, you know, we keep an eye on like the stream and like what's happening and stuff like that. So did you open my? That was really creepy.
Looking at the door was like,
I thought Bo opened it for a second. I'm sure he wanted it. He wasn't allowed in.
Is it
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, it's Mia. She's the ghost.
Oh man.
No, I think we built in a lot of that like really good redundancy. It had a really good plan going in and had a really good like separation of responsibility to keep a lot of the work off of each other. Asterisk, Phil still did way too much, and that's just a product of like the online nature of what we're doing, right? You know, where there's only like 3 people that actually have the means to like go and sit in a room with you relatively easily, and then the rest of us are like flying across the country. So like, yeah, that makes sense, you know?
Yeah.
And then, you know, we obviously had like some hiccups with like getting clips and stuff like that in the moment. That was really, really difficult, but we still achieved it. So finding out, like, we're finding that process too. There's obviously ways to refine it, but between like between MHSR and then Rise2Glory, there were, I mean, it was a massive glow up, even from MHSR to CGS1, right? Like that was an incredible, you know, and I got to participate in that one. And as a competitor, it felt fun, it felt interesting, but then, you know, we had that huge problem of we fit it all into one day. It was like 12 hours long, and a lot of people like sat around for 6 hours doing nothing. You know, like that was a problem.
Yeah.
But I mean, like we absolutely fixed that with just like tournament style, 2-day style. In the second one, like I think the flow was good. It wasn't too long. People weren't exhausted by the end of it. It's just, you know, the international community, unfortunately, you know, non-North America community, unfortunately, has to participate at the worst time ever imaginable. Like I couldn't play a Monster Hunter game at 2:00 in the morning, you know, at that level.
I
wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't.
That's peak time. You know what I mean?
Actually makes me wonder, it's like, should we like
That's
adjust
3rd Red Bull time.
on your first cup of coffee?
Super wired.
But even though with all this stuff, just the 2 of you running it, I feel like you guys made such a good basis that when I was pitching Monster Hunter or the CGS to people, it was very easy to get them on board, which was really cool because of what you guys had already made and and what it was. And also it's such a niche thing. There's not a Monster Hunter tournament out there that I know of. So
RIP Festa.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'll speak a little bit to that too, because like doing a lot of the some of the marketing too as well, like pitching it was like extremely easy. I really loved it. When I got to talk to Pippo about it, at first I was like, oh crap, I need to make sure I got like all this like information to like so he'll know it's like legit, so we know what we're doing. And he was like, oh dude, this is lit, this is legit, love it, cool, easy, you know what I mean? Then I talked to Uno Hunter, same thing, oh lit, love it, you know what I mean? So it was just like really cool to see like how everything was just really well organized. And this being my first tournament, that was something that I was extremely impressed with, because just coming on, like I didn't feel any pressure. I didn't feel like I was like super obligated and stressed out. Like I came in and I was just like, got my coffee, did my little check-in, good to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Especially because you came in at the buzzer too. We were like,
Bro,
oh, you good, dude. You got here like in time.
Just in time.
Bro,
It was
It
really
also
funny.
helps
You
that-
know what I mean? You gotta show right so people miss you. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, because I was gonna say it was really funny because like we're sitting there, we're like, where the hell is Zensei and Brian? Where are they? They need to be like queued up like right now. And then like the moment I said, all right, we need replacements, both of you showed up in there, and I was like, all right, cool, we're good. That's all that matters.
So funny because I was up like 2 or 3 hours ahead of time, And I was like, okay, I got the time zone right. We're good. I'm just gonna wait for a little bit. And then I literally went to get coffee, chilled, relaxed. And I showed up. I was like, yeah, I'm about to show up. Everybody's here. I was like, man, this is kind of crazy. Everyone's on time. It's so professional. And then they're like, we're starting at 5. And I was like, oh, shit. I got the time wrong.
Yeah. I mean, but it still worked out like perfectly fine. Like everyone, I can't speak enough to like the amount of like professionalism and like appropriateness. No, that's not the word I'm looking for.
Etiquette?
Consideration. Consideration that everyone gave like the Rise2Glory event, because I mean that's the most that we've ever had, like volunteer wise, you know.
Yep.
And so the amount of just like like attention and consideration and effort that everyone put into it, I mean, it shows too. It showed in the production. It showed it like relatively compared to the first MHSR, that went like a breeze. That was beautiful. That like was immaculate in comparison, you know. And you're gonna have some downtime. You're gonna have like some like ads running, like whatever. You're gonna have to like throw up like a BRB screen every now and then. There's gonna be technical difficulties, and we had those, but they went so much smoothly, so much more smoothly.
Yeah.
And
English
commentary was able to like carry those moments and to keep them going, especially like Zen, like you and Jitsu had to carry the first major technical difficulty, which was we are not set up for the first match, and we definitely didn't think about this, and now we're having problems with Video Ninja, and you guys were up there like you had to like, you know, shoot the shit for like 10-15 minutes and like give us that time, and you guys did great. You know, everyone was like prepared to do that, and it was awesome.
You guys might have
Yeah, I
actually
have
had
to
the
say-
longest screen time for like the commentators.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
minus Johnny and
That's
Scott at the end.
I
But
mean, when me and Jinx linked up, I immediately felt the chemistry. I was like, bro, where have you been? Like my whole life? Missed.
It was fun watching you guys
Absolutely.
Yeah.
commentate for sure. It was
bro.
super
It was
fun.
funny. It was bromance, like off the grip. And then you know, I feel like what's that that Frozen line when it's like finish each other's sandwiches.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say.
But it was good, exactly. But it was good, man. Overall, I think, especially for my first experience, this was extremely professional. And then, like, what really like impresses me the most is the fact that I saw the second one, like the second tournament, and that's what like linked me. Like that's what hooked me. I was like, oh my god, Monster Hunter Tournament! Oh my god! And then when I saw the production, I was like, yo, oh my gosh! And then to hear like Nix going in, and I was like, this is so amazing. I want to be a part of it. And as a Monster Hunter fan, as a Monster Hunter speedrunner, as a Monster Hunter enthusiast, whatever you want to call it, you know what I mean? Like just for me to see that kind of event be injected into the community, especially now when it's like always like in gaming period, it's a lot of negativity, but to see such positivity, such encouragement, something that like garners good vibes, you know what I mean? It kind of like generates that, and then not only generates it, it multiplies it and spreads it throughout the community. It's good for the game, it's good for gaming, it's good for streaming, and overall it's just good for people. Cause like, dude, like it's crazy because that day was a sucky day for me. It was a real sucky day. But to come in and just vibe out with people, have a good time, you know, relax, see their responses, man, it's so great. Like I feel like that's what doing like big productions like this is for.
yeah.
You know, we give people not only a place of escape, because I hate that word because it seems like we're not dealing with it. I feel like it gives them hope. Like, bro, like life is good. It
Yeah.
really is. You know what I mean? And to
I
be
think
able to
that
do stuff
goes
like
back to what Jal was saying. Like everyone was so considerate and on time and professional. And I think because, like, I think I speak for everyone when I say that everyone that had a hand in CGS was just super passionate about it.
Yep.
And I think that's why everyone really showed up and like did what they had to do.
Yeah. And like
100% agree.
when people come in with that like level of like passion and attention and desire, it just makes it that much easier. You know, because like that's what I was like telling you know, Knight when we were trying to like plan this out and design kind of like our you know, little modular system of little teams to accomplish different things. Because I told him, I'm like, you can't do it all this time. Like you can't. you did last time and you did the time before, but you can't do that this time for what you want to achieve. You've got to put people in charge of things. You've got to make project managers for each of your teams so each of the product can get done, so it all can come together at the end. You have to do that. And I was telling them, you got to put people in that are passionate, that are willing to do this work, and that want to do this right. You can't just put anyone into that, because then you're going to come day of and they're going to be like, all right, commentators, you ready? And be like, oh yeah, I'm ready. What am I talking about? What game is this? Who are we? Like, and then I'm like, oh no, you can't have that. Like, we can't do that stuff. We can't have that kind of a moment, you know?
Yeah.
And every single person that was involved was incredibly passionate and just like put themselves out there and really like led teams and helped guide each other. And you know, I cannot. I think I tweeted it out afterwards. I zooted it out afterwards. That I was so impressed with everyone that like participated and volunteered and interacted, and just the vibes were immaculate. The production was amazing, and you guys made it just so much easier. Like, it was a breeze compared to the first one, dude. The first one we were so stressed out the entire time, and like it would be really funny because like Knight would get it like, you know, a scene up, and we were getting ready to switch to the next one already, and he was just like working like nonstop, like over and over and over. I'm like, you're gonna, you know, run ragged doing it like this. Yeah, like we gotta fix it. And I think the design of it like this time around was perfect, you know, as far as like keeping, like holding people's attention but keeping things moving forward and building a story and building a show during it. Like, I think we did an amazing job, just like putting on a good show, one that was interesting and kept people engaged.
Yeah.
And coming from the like watching it from the second one and then being part of the third one, like there were some improvements that I saw, major improvements, like that I knew as a viewer was an issue, but it like completely drastically changed the third go around. So like the timing, bro, that was amazing. Because I remember the first time I came in, I was like, bro, it's 12 hours and we're still going, bro. Okay, I'm with it. I know these guys got to be tired, but hey. And then at the end of it, Night, when you guys did check your closing ceremony, he was like, thank you guys so much for coming, it was so great, you know. I was like, dang, hey, somebody get this man a shot of caffeine, an IV of caffeine or something. No, matter of fact, no, screw that, give him melatonin, he's gonna get knocked out because he's out of there.
Brother, I was so hopped up on caffeine that day. I'm sure a bunch of us were. I know like some people were taking naps during like the time that they're waiting to go up and stuff.
Oh yeah,
that's so funny.
Yeah, especially because we had like, you know, the European community, like a bunch of people in the European community helping out too, right?
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
go get your Z's, like go relax, like go do what you got to do, because like it's I never realized how much of like a time it's like 6 or 7 hours for some of these people, and it's like it's already noon, so it's like nighttime for you. We've got to wrap this thing up in like 2 hours, and I think we did great on timing, right?
Yeah,
like, I think we did
hours.
immaculate on timing. Like we like finished, and I was like, I still have a whole day left. I could have streamed today. I can go and do something productive. And then I sat there and just like played Destiny 2 for 8 hours, you know? So like, that was the day.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Loved it.
Actually, I wanted to get, because I haven't heard from our participants yet. I'm actually very curious as to what your perspective and, you know, what your thoughts were about just, you know, joining the tournament this time around, especially, you know, Dragolus being your first, and Lumini, you were a part of our pilot tournament too, and now you came in as a participant. How did you guys feel?
I'll let Drago go first on this one.
It was different. I mean, I've never done a tournament before, so it was just a lot of practicing and whatnot. But the day of, it wasn't really that bad. Just a lot of getting the OKs, doing the quests, and getting out. I didn't really get the whole the wait for the to confirm the time thing, but luckily he'll just trusted me in those first few quests until we switched off Video Ninja to the Discord streaming for confirmation on all that.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I didn't really have much of a problem with it. I wasn't thrilled with all the selections for the great swords and Rise in general with the old switch skills and everything. So I have to. That was what was messing me up the most. Is getting in there and like, oh wait, I don't have these skills that I normally use, and these buttons are different, and I'm on the wrong switch scroll. Oh boy, that's what hung me up the most, I guess. But as for participating, and everyone was very professional, everything went smoothly as it could have gone. And day of, me and Slade got 3 new personal bests on the quest.
Nice.
Oh, sheesh. That's awesome, man.
Good stuff.
And then we fumbled Lucent and Astalos majorly.
I think
Well,
that was
yeah,
the
that
one
was-
when I interviewed you guys did say you were having problems with loose ends.
I messed up
Tricky
Lucent
one.
pretty bad.
That's a dance
Spicy.
for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a really scripted out fight, but it's like one of those where like if you like miss time or misstep at like one moment, you're done.
You're done.
You're-
Oh, the
I eat it.
main thing I screwed up on was you could only get 2 paras on Lucent with the light bowgun if you switched your switch scroll to elemental reload instantly when you started the quest,
Oh.
and I forgot.
Oh,
And so we
no.
couldn't get the second para, and it didn't go well at all.
Yeah.
Happens.
That was the kind of like the design philosophy though for the quests, because when they were putting things together, they were thinking 2 ways. What are things like solely by themselves that seem to work and have like a gimmick, but the gimmick is like usable and competitive with everything else, and then what are combinations that kind of stick together that we could see that would create unique, strategies. Because the testing, when they were doing testing, mostly it was just, do they feel right? Does the EFR feel right? Does the damage feel right? Are things comparable? And can you get like the air quotes target time with all of the sets? But it wasn't like, the quest team didn't go like, we expect them to do LBG CB, we expect them to do LBG hunting horn. We don't, that like wasn't part of the conversation. It was mostly just like, let's make some like fun, goofy like combinations, and then see what the runners do with them, because that was the highlight of this, is like what you guys did with it, what the runners figured out with it, because we don't want to figure that out for you. We don't want to like put it in there and make it obvious and be like, well, yeah, of course we're going to use the longsword. Like they built it out like crazy. Like, no. Like we built or they, I should say they, I like watched from the shadows. I was supposed to help. Like I just couldn't. I felt so bad. But, no, like they did an amazing job, like putting together the tools for you guys to figure out, but they took into consideration stuff like that. Like they're going to have to know how to use this. This is a speedrun tournament. You have to take advantage of the knowledge of the game.
Yep.
It is dope because like as a speedrunner and like hopefully a participant in the next one, like it got me excited. It got me excited, and that's what we really want to garner is the excitement, because it was like it was so many unique like combinations that you could do to make that interesting. But I think another dynamic that makes the tournament so fire is the fact that you cart and you still have to continue the run.
Yeah.
Like that was a dynamic that's just like, it adds a different edge to the competition, because you, as a runner, you're used to, I messed up, next, keep going, I messed up, next, keep going. Now it's like, no, I have to develop skills of recovery. I have to develop skills of making up time. I have to develop contingencies plans, and you start to see that in a lot of the runners. They had contingencies plans where, like, I think there was one where they were going against Diablos and Tigrex, and they would split off. But if one died, they would crash in on Diablos, and then they would crash in on Tigrex. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I thought that was like, it's cool. It's like it forces you to adapt in different ways. It forces you to have creativity, contingencies plans, plan B, C, D, what we're gonna do if this happens, in order to get at least the highest time as possible. And I think for runners, this is like a breath of, well, oh my God, excuse me, a breath of like fresh air. You know what I mean? That's like, it's new, it's different. You know what I mean? Like we don't just come in and mindlessly restart again, restart are again is no, your run is sacred. So make it happen or lose. You know?
Yeah.
I love it.
Finally
Absolutely.
giving the IL crowd a little taste of RTA. Finally, you guys know my pain now. It's like
Welcome to my
I'm an
world.
hour in. I'm committed, dude. That was me last night. I threw to a 2-minute time save, or I threw and like to a strategy that saves 2 minutes. So I lost the 2 minutes last night, and I'm like, it's 9:30. It's almost 10 o'clock. I can't start another 3-hour run. I gotta run this one out. You know?
Yeah.
And you just gotta like deal with it just to
Welcome
finish
to
it
the
out.
Thunderdome.
Oh man, you guys are finally getting a taste of what I have to deal with.
Dude, I love it. I love it. It's exciting too, especially we could do
It
it
is.
on this scale. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's fire. It's absolutely fire. I love it. So I'm hoping what we can do is we could get Team Darkside, Team Elixir, Team Triple Card, like all 3 of them together to go against each other. Oh my god, that'd be so exciting. Chris, if you're watching this, bro, we're calling you out, dog.
Oh, boy.
Love
All
it.
right, to get Team Lightside on there too.
Yeah,
Yes,
get
please.
Team Lightside.
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely,
Team
man.
Lightside versus Team Darkside.
Oh my god.
Can we cart faster than you can finish it?
That'd be a fun
Some
one.
of their runs, maybe not.
I would love it. And the thing is, I'm really excited to see what else we can do in the Monster Hunter community at like
Mhm.
with this like production value. You know what I mean? Like, because for me, like I was saying earlier, it would be really cool to do kill races. You know what I mean? I think that would be kind of cool instead of it be more so like a tournament style. It would be more like where we could. You know, how many monsters could we kill underneath a certain amount of time? You know what I mean? Or capture
okay.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Or another one was like being able to do like fashion shows for the community, you know what I mean? And people come in with all different types of layers, maybe one modded, one not. I think that would be so fire, you know what I mean? Just as long as you know Capcom doesn't come in and we don't have no Chung Lee. So, but I think overall it would be.
Yeah, that.
Phil's got to make sure he doesn't have that mod installed.
Look,
on
I'm
his PC,
telling you.
so he's not looking at the.
This is why I don't
Extra
install
thick hunter
any
model.
real
Oh my
cosmetic
God.
mods because I'm always worried on how this could possibly affect the hitboxes because sometimes you just don't know. While that person
Yeah.
might have thought that they just slapped a model on, but then inadvertently they accidentally changed the hitbox on how it's supposed to operate.
I know that was less of a problem in Rise because of the way that like models and skins over models were designed in Rise, but it was definitely a problem in World.
I think the only one that it would be somewhat relevant towards would be Gunlance, but I don't think
That's what I was gonna say.
I don't think there was really any mods for Gunlance because
No, not really.
Rip.
Because it's just the one. It's like one gun lance. It's like a little bit longer, a little bit shorter, or something like that. So it makes
Pretty
like
much.
doing a worm stake easier on like a Kushala fight, and it's like such an incredibly like specific scenario. But it actually like is relevant for speedrunning.
I love
It
it.
kind of makes me wonder if my contour greatsword in World that I got modded.
No, it's probably
any
fine.
different.
And like for the most part, like most of those mods like actually don't even change the hitbox. It just replaces the skin of the hitbox that exists on the whatever. Like it's all like layered armor hardly changes that stuff. It's literally only gun lance that actually affects it.
Interesting.
Okay,
But-
that's dope. I'm glad y'all said that. 'cause I actually never thought of that. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
right. We have to.
Yeah.
Just another
But
day of a verifier.
Yippee.
I actually have a question for Nightside.
Yeah, what's up?
Just coming into this, man, what inspired you to do this? Like, what's the origin story of CGS? Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of the viewers don't want to know that. Like, what was your thought process? What were you feeling? Like, what place were you in your head? What was your
You'll find a tweet.
mission for the community? You know what I mean? I want to know. And did you like immediately say, "Aha, CGS," and start right away, or is this like years in planning, or like months, or like what's the timeline?
Probably years in planning, maybe months in planning. Definitely years, because like what happened was, what even kicked my interest off in this entire thing was E3 2018, I believe. So that was when we had like the world collaboration with Final Fantasy, where we had Behemoth and stuff like that. So we went to the E3, me and Pointy, and they had like a speedrunning tournament where it was like just like 2 arenas. It was like the 2 arenas that they were featuring in like the, in the Street Fighter tournament. So day 1 was like Pink Rathian, and I guess like day 1 was kind of rough because they just picked up people that were like just at the venue, but a lot of the people that they picked up weren't really, you know, familiar with the game. So a lot of it was just, you know, how many carts can the Pink Rathian take over the players, you know? But then like day 2, like they prepped that and like try to get as many people that they knew were established runners, or at least, you know, established players, for their day 2 tournament, which was the Nergigante one. So that's the one that me and my best friend Pointy joined in for. And like, you know, I grew up with the FGC, so I played like a lot of Street Fighter, a lot of Tekken, watched a lot of like, you know, Justin Wong or like, you know, Daigo Umehara and stuff like that, Tokido, and just watched like a bunch of those pros like go at it and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And I love that. I love the hype. I love like the energy behind it, especially when you look at like Evo moments and stuff like that. You know, it gets pretty crazy to kind of see the excitement, the upsets, and, you know, just the drama that happens in those moments. And like, you know, it kind of clicked with me while we're in the middle of the tournament that, you know, it'd be really cool if like, you know, we had like Monster Hunter tournaments, and then Festa happened, right, with the Monster Hunter, you know, freaking US championship and stuff like that. And pretty much from there it was like, okay, I really want to try and make this happen. So for like months, maybe like almost like a year, I kept mulling over it. And then one day I tweeted it out. I was like, it'd be really cool if we did like a freaking esports competition type of thing for like Monster Hunter. And then I shit you not, like what 10-30 minutes later, I got a DM from freaking Bagel, and it's like, dude, we have the same idea. you want to make something happen?
We tweeted it out. We tweeted it out at the exact same time. Like, he made a tweet and I made a tweet, and we were like, for some reason the moon was just like doing whatever to us, and we were thinking about this thing the exact same time. And like, I shit you not, because I tweeted it out, I was like, in the exact same vein, I'm like, man, dude, I'm like an ongoing Monster Hunter speedrunning tournament would be like a sick thing to do. And then he tweeted out like, man, I really want to do like more like esports style Monster Hunter tournaments. And I'm like, what just happened? Did we just sync up? Like, are we?
Bro, it's crazy you say that, because Jao, I don't know if you remember 2 years ago, when we were doing something for so the GNC, GSC, it was the
GOC, yeah,
GOC, and we had talked about that, about, bro, how cool would it be if we end up having a speedrunning tournament like for the community to go, and we literally had that full-on conversation. Like, at some point this would be really cool to pull off. And it kind of just left it there. And then to see you guys like actually pulled it off, bro, I was like, no way they did this.
It was
I gotta get
really
on
good timing too, because like I was going through the whole like MHSR rebrand, because like, you know, the speedrun.com Monster Hunter community has always been kind of like to the wayside as far as like the competitive speedrunning community has been, and that's mostly just because of like history from previous administration and just like general understanding of like speedrun.com, and generally to a larger portion of like the Japanese and European community just like don't interact with speedrun.com. They find other sources or they make their own, right? And so I was going through this whole rebrand for MHSR with like really big like lofty goals, and like wanted to start working towards that, and then Knight just being like, yeah, I think our goals align. You know, and so that's why the first one had the MHSR branding, but then I realized shortly after that one, I don't have the bandwidth for that, you know, like working full time and doing shit. And Knight was like, well, I do. And so when he started like planning the second one, I'm like, I'm all in, dude. Don't worry about like, there's no conflict of interest. I'm not trying to push that over there anymore. Like, let's push it, and I'm still gonna promote it in there, you know.
That's good.
And I'm glad that you brought up Evo, because that's my hometown con. I've been going to Evo for years. Jealous. I love Evo. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because if you look at Evo and how there are moments in each community, and even like as a whole, there's moments that people remember about Evo. And that's something that camaraderie and just community and just that togetherness is something that I see this bringing the Monster Hunter community at. Because I feel like as much as I love the Monster Hunter community, and as much as I always like tell people like, yeah, the reason why I keep playing is the community's awesome, there are times where the community does feel like it's kind of in its own cliques a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
that always
very
happens,
much
though.
so.
Yeah, and I feel like this event can do something to the community like Evo did to the FGC and everything. So
And blend
that's
it,
why
yeah.
after seeing the first one, I'm kind of the same as Zen. After I saw the first one and how it went, I was like, yo, I totally want to be a part of this. Like, I even was thinking to myself, like, what can I bring to this, like, this competition that would like benefit them and stuff like that. I was like, I don't know, I just want to be a part of it. So the moment that like Nightside was like asking for volunteers, I immediately jumped on it and I was like, are you still accepting volunteers? I'm so down.
Dude, yeah, man, it was a great experience, and the good thing about this, like, that really got my mind like going crazy. Monster Hunter is in such a good position right now, bro. Like, we're moving from niche category to our own category to like really mainstream. You know what I mean? Like, and Wilds could do that. It really
it's
could.
gonna blow up.
You know what I mean? I feel like we can
Wilds
start
is gonna do that.
pushing. Yeah, exactly.
100%.
It can really push us into like Elden Ring type, community territory. You know what I mean? And
It's
then on
wild
top,
that you say that.
yeah, bro.
Did somebody
it's
say wild?
it's wild that you say that.
Like
No,
you
because
say
like
that. Oh my God.
legitimately, like you're saying Elden Ring community, Captain Domo, who is he's the like one of the leads for the Elden Ring randomizer community, or Elden Ring bingo community, and they have a tournament series that they do in the bingo community that is bingo, like head-to-head lockout bingo tournaments. And they design the bingo categories like with an insane amount of detail and like thought that goes into this, and he wants to do it for Monster Hunter. And so we've been talking like about redoing the bingo for Monster Hunter from a different perspective, from a post game perspective rather than a new game perspective, and developing the tools for that. And so like when you're saying like it's gaining mainstream attention, it's gaining mainstream attention. Like, yes. Domo's been playing World to kind of like get an idea of this, then reached out to me and was like, what do you think? And I'm like, I think it's a great idea. You got like a great like mind about this. Like, let's put something together, let's draft it up, like let's send it. And then in the same vein, now you can have Monster Hunter bingo tournaments.
Yes.
And like bingo tournaments are super popular, like in any game, right? Zelda Link to the Past, like the ALTTP community has a huge randomizer community. OOT has a huge randomizer community. Elden Ring, even all the Souls games really just have a huge, or excuse me, I keep saying randomizer, I mean to say bingo, and bingo randomizer. But like the fact that Monster Hunter now has the chance to like introduce themselves to this like community, that's been my goal the entire time, is let's stop getting people looking at Monster Hunter as a Monster Hunter game and like just like its own like little niche thing and stuff like that, and start looking at it as like a mainstream game and a speed running game and a challenge running game, and start to get it into this like mainstream, this side stream like challenge running, speed running, bingo and randomizer community. That's why I do all that like weird goofy stuff, is maybe someone will see it and be like, I want to do that too, and then they start doing it, and then someone else goes, I want to do that too, and then they start doing it, and then all these people start jumping onto the train, and then it becomes a popular thing instead of a niche thing.
It's a wildfire from there, dude. It's an absolute wildfire, and it's crazy because I came from Call of Duty. Like, for me, that community, obviously, we know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then,
Call of Duty be Call of Duty.
Call of Duty is going to do Call of Duty things. But the thing that drew me to Call of Duty was a competition, and it was challenge there. But also, there was something to consistently, like, work for, grind for, and then, like, take away the negative and look at the baseline. The amount of revenue, the amount of people, the amount of like lives that like Call of Duty has changed, just from a streamer point of view, content creator point of view, viewer point of view. Like, I still have friends that I've made playing Call of Duty, like still to this day. And like, I love that because we can garner that now from Monster Hunter Wilds, and like kids that's kids now will go later on and be like, bro, y'all remember when we saw Zhao, you know what I mean, go against, Nergi, in 2024. Like, bro, like moments like that, dude, it's so good. It's so good. and you remember it. It's like it's not like something fleeting. And just as much as like seeing Michael Jordan shoot his jump shot, or I don't know, seeing Deion Sanders in the NFL run his touchdown or whatever, like those things they write on our hearts, you know what I mean, in a different way. And it brings us together. It's a reason why in every era there's always some type of competition, sport, tournament, or something along those lines in an interest or in a game that we all love, you know what I mean? Like in every era it's always something like that. It's an automatic binder, and I love that. So good. Absolutely, bro.
I wanted to point out a couple of things really fast that just an observation that I've made, but because when we did the Monster Hunter, the MHSR, yeah, there you go, MHSR Invitational.
He only ran it.
Listen, I was the behind the scenes guy, but when we did MHSR Invitational, right, that was just everyone in the States, right?
Yeah.
But then starting with Card Game Series 1, we managed to kind of branch out to the international crowd. I think that was kind of like the goal and the idea of what me and Bagel wanted to do when we initially did MHSR. It was just that, because it was a pilot, and this was like very much like a proof of concept. We wanted to try and control.
It was a test.
Exactly.
Because like we went into it with a lot of like unknowns, and we told everyone that too. We're inviting you in to like smooth out the edges. We need to run it to see it, to know where like our bottlenecks are, and like understand the design and stuff like that. So like this isn't going to go smoothly, and everyone kind of knew that. And that's what we appreciated mostly, is that people were willing to work with us and do this thing even though it was going to have some rough edges.
That's a good thing, though. Sometimes people will say, it'll go fine, it'll go smoothly, don't worry about it, and then explodes, and then everyone's like, well, that didn't go smoothly. But
That's how you learn.
Better to be upfront about it. Might have problems.
I will
cut you off.
If we could branch it out to like Billy or something like that, like have it like stream out to there as well. That'll be really, really cool. I don't know what all that entails. I mean, I'm just dreaming here, excuse me. But I think it would be really cool to do that, because like really like push out to that community. Oh man.
I mean, it's hard to. I will say this as someone who has been inundated with Monster Hunter speedrunning for 5 years now, and has to interact with, I mean, not has to, but has had to in the past interact with things like other leaderboards, like what is it, like Monster Hunter Iceborne leaderboards. What was the other one, Lumini, like that we had to.
Let me think. The one that
there was the one that you worked on.
It's MHRspeedrun.com.
Yeah, there's MHRspeedrun.com. There was the Iceborne leaderboards that were
traditional TA Wiki website as well.
TA Wiki, and then also like Billy is like the Japanese version of speedrun.com, but like it's more like a YouTube than it is a compendium, right? Like it's a weird one.
No, Billy was Chinese, if I remember right.
Was it Chinese? Yeah, excuse me, Chinese.
Nico is Japanese.
Oh, right, Nico, yeah. So there's all of these like other sources that we've had to interact with this in the past before, and when I've reached out to them, they're like, leave us alone. Like it happens every time. So but it's still like, I think the best thing to like target in, if we like it to like grow something like this, is the community. Target in on the community, because community desires, community requests are what drive decision makings in these kinds of like in these kinds of environments. You only do something because the people that are interacting with it want it to be done. So those are the people. Like, we just need to get the people speedrunners. Please participate in CGS3. CGS3 is probably going to be in Wild. CGS3 is going to be even bigger, even better. It's going to be massive. It's going to be cool. It's going to be huge. And please participate in it, because we're gonna push this thing until we can't anymore.
Even non-speedrunners, I think that's what I liked about this tournament, is we had a mix. And I think, I don't know if I can speak to Drago, but maybe he would like to compete again. Competing for the second one. But yeah, I just really enjoyed just seeing all the teams and teams that were not speedrunners and teams that were. Yeah, there was that like, I guess, difference of skill, but it was still so much fun to see how people like came up with strategies or what they thought would work and what didn't work. And I think communities just love cheering on like the
underdog.
the underdog.
Oh yeah.
And that's something
For
that I
sure.
want too, is I
Team
want
LS,
people
Yeah.
I want people to come back and compete, because I also want people to like have their favorite team and be like, yeah, even though this team, they haven't won yet, maybe they'll win one in the next one, and that kind of stuff. I think that kind of stuff helps build community as well. So definitely, if you've ever wanted to like even try speedrunning, or if you just love Monster Hunter in general, like definitely try out for CGS. I think it's just gonna be a good time. It'll just be super fun to watch.
Man, you don't even
And
have to be a
honestly, like,
speedrunner.
Yeah,
No, you
because
don't.
anything from what I have seen in the past, I used to be a part of the Monster Hunter Mino community, and before I had actually joined it, they actually had their own little competition up amongst their own community. Yeah, they actually had some speedrunners at the time, but they also had the casual player base and participating in it as well. And just due to the nature of it being like kind of like CGS, where it's like a one shot, you just do it one time. If you did, great. If you didn't, too bad. Even some casual players were able to get like top 3, if not actually win, because I remember one of my friends, and she actually won the competition, and I'm gonna say that like she's as relaxed of a player as you could get. Not exactly any sort of speedrunning bone in her, but she was able to win because she was able to capitalize on a couple of the speedrunners' mistakes where they were trying to go way too aggressive with their strategies. They ended up carding a lot as a result, where it created an opportunity for her to where she could just complete the quest, and she won. And so I think, so even if like you're more on the casual side, there is still a good chance for you to be able to succeed because of that. And now, like with Wild's AI being like a lot more dynamic, I think it actually creates more opportunities for those sorts of players to be able to flourish in a more competitive setting that we would try to set up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm actually very, very, very happy that you know, obviously with CGS1 we were already able to get to, you know, to expand the audience and expand the player base to the international community. But I think I don't know how many other creators were able to like make connections with the Japanese community, but this time around we were able to also get Japanese players to join us as well, which was very huge.
That was awesome.
Very cool.
You know,
That was
awesome.
amazing, bro.
Yeah.
Y'all did
Yeah.
that.
That's
That was
the
Because
That's
my
the bridge
experience
that
with
we've
the
been
Japanese
struggling.
players is that they typically tend to keep to themselves for the most
Exactly.
part.
yeah.
Because I'll definitely say from my end, especially with working on MHWilds, for the most part, we pretty well rely on Hotcrin for like a lot of the communication with the Japanese player base, or at least we rely on him on not only that, but also like to reach out to other people that he's more aware of, because obviously as a Japanese person who actually has connections to those people, he's actually able to bring those people in for the discussions.
Yeah.
And so just
that's
to
been the
have
bridge
this
that we've been struggling to do for a really long time. Like, I mean, Lumini, you and I talked about it like when Rise started, because the bigger player base for Rise during base game was in Japan, and we're like, how do we get those people to start interacting with us? How do we like bridge this gap? Because that was also around the same time too that we came to the understanding we cannot post runs for other people on their behalf onto our speedrun leaderboard.
Yeah, they are very particular about that. Like, if they want to be a part of a leaderboard, then they will post it themselves. Otherwise, hands off their runs.
Oh, I mean, and speedrun.com TOS says we just can't do that. You know, you cannot post on behalf of somebody else because previous administration was doing that. And so we thought it was normal and okay. Turns out it's not normal and okay. And we got a lot of people like saying like, hey, I don't want my run here. I'm like, okay, understood.
Yeah.
But we want people to like that was that bridge between like the you know, North American community, the European community, and the like Japanese or Chinese or whatever, like all of the international communities. We want to bridge that together. And I mean, CGS2 did a fantastic job of that, because like now I go and hang out in Dokupon's streams all the time. You know,
That's
I'm like sitting in there and I'm like watching. I'm like, this is a ton of fun just to like be here. Like, do I know what's going on half the time? No, but I know Monster Hunter, and it seems like everyone's having a really good time. So this is a good vibe. Like I'm enjoying it here.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It really does make me excited for the future of speedrunning for Monster Hunter. Yeah, I understand some people are a little bit worried and skeptical on some things because, yeah, sure, whatever. They're adding more like environmental sort of things that can happen, like lightning strike. I mean, heck, my first fight against Dashiguma, he got struck by lightning 5 times in the entire hunt, like dealing at least 500 damage. Not a pop, but like overall.
I love resetting the TA wiki rules to RNG because I got struck by lightning.
And see, and that's the thing though, because there are like now those much more random environmental elements to it. Me and HCZS are trying to at least communicate with the people from the TA wiki board about a future rule set for this, because obviously I would say the biggest failings of the current TA wiki rule set is that it restricted so much of the tools that are available in the game that it ultimately made itself unappealing to a lot of old runners and new runners alike. Because I mean,
Just
some of the things yeah, it was just too weighted down, and then especially with Sunbreak, and then all of a sudden now you got like the Starburst beetles that are on the walls. And now you had to be extra careful about like if you actually wanted to mount the monster. All right, well, let me make sure I don't accidentally hit him on this giant wall that has an elemental blight on it and accidentally invalidate my whole run.
Yeah,
or like for whatever reason they made the decision to finally ban Tigrex and Diablos getting stuck to a wall. As silly as it sounds, that was probably the straw that I noticed the most that broke a lot of people's back for doing TA wiki runs.
Yeah.
I personally loved a lot of that, the TA wiki runs, but when Sunbreak hit, for me, it was the reason why I stopped doing it for Sunbreak was because I didn't understand. I was like, everything is banned. I got like so many runs kicked out. I was like, I don't even know what to do anymore. I remember I went to Juicy and I was like, bro, what's even legal, bro? Like, I don't even know. Like, can you? And I would have him look at my run before I submit it, because I was like, I don't even know if this is gonna like go through, because like it's too many rules to keep up with. So it's like one of those things. Yeah, I definitely felt like it got too restricted for the runner. You know what I mean?
And I will say, I do have some insight on that as well, but unfortunately, like I would say during that period of time, the people running the TA wiki board had a massive distrust towards people running on PC because of the different types of mods that were on there. So from what I remember, some of the judges, like if the run was on PC and if you had like the slightest whiff of a mod on it, then it would either just get outright banned or knocked off, or it would just get moved to the references section of their website.
Well, that's I mean, that's why it's always been a part of their rules. PC is not allowed. So like if you can't submit PC to TA wiki, unfortunately, which is a big reason why we stopped working with them too at MHSR, is because we're not trying to restrict the player base. We don't want to tell people playing the game on the platforms that the game came out that you can't speedrun the game, you can't participate, whereas just instead are going to develop rules and verifications and processes so these people can participate. But like, I mean, that's a conversation for another time.
Yeah,
I could rant about that for like the
that's
next
its
8
own
hours. if you
stream
guys
right
want.
there.
Yeah,
That's its own show.
That is its own
Let
stream.
me know.
Yeah, dude, that's another podcast for another day, for another time, for probably another topic.
Actually, on the
That
note
one,
of,
I'll gladly try to grab like other folks, like maybe if Hakren had the time to talk
Oh my
about
gosh.
that, or
I was talking to Kage about it last night, about like what we're gonna do with Wilds. You know,
Dude, that's something that I've been talking to HC about on like, all right, what are we really thinking about with Wilds?
actually, on the note of PC, obviously one of the biggest things for Monster Hunter speedrunning 2. Sorry, holy crap! I actually need coffee, but for CGS 2. One of the biggest things was that, you know, we decided to take some community feedback where in CGS 1 people were asking for custom quests, or like, you know, they wanted to see things that were outside of the arena, because obviously it was like CGS 1, they were already these were arenas that have been beaten black and blue, like all the strategies that have been posted online. Everyone's done everything, and it's just a matter of who can do it better or who can get screwed by RNG less, right?
Yeah.
So with CGS 2, obviously the whole theme was, okay, we're gonna try and see what is the you know, the plausibility of us being able to do custom quests, right? And by doing that, obviously that meant we couldn't have console players join us this time around. But you know, I think the design crew did a really good job with designing the quests. I got to test them myself and help them out and give some feedback here and there. And I thought that the quests were pretty well done, but you know, obviously maybe not everyone has that same kind of what's it called, I want to say attitude in regards to, or you know, viewpoint in regards to the custom quests. Because obviously with custom quests, it makes it difficult for people that aren't typically used to modding the games, difficult, right, on the players end. In addition to, you know, it also forces them to play the game a lot more different, because the parameters are now changed from what they're used to now. So I'm interested in knowing what your guys' opinions are in regards to, you know, how we handled the custom quests, and you know, what CGS's future might look like if we decided to, well, let me rephrase that, if we should continue to do custom quests like this going forward, maybe in its like own kind of tournament series where, you know, this is a custom quest tournament, or you know, if we need to change the approach altogether.
See, I actually really enjoyed the custom quest because, like you said, for the most part, all the arenas have been beaten black and blue. Everybody already is aware of all the super optimal strategies, and so there's nothing really new to the table. And with being able to use custom quests, not only do you just provide new content for the game, it's also a new experience for the runners and the viewers as well, because at least for the runners' case, they get to practice on something new for like the next 2 weeks and develop their quick little strategies for that tournament. For the viewers, they can finally look at something and be like, yo, these guys are trying it for, I'm not going to say like for the first time, because, you know, they had 2 weeks, but like, well, yeah, that's
still fresh.
It's just a fresh
That's
thing.
still very fresh.
It's just super fresh. And unfortunately, yeah, it does alienate the people who are playing on console. They can't participate in it unless, for whatever reason, Capcom is very, I guess, kind with PC and consoles files intermingling, but I highly doubt that.
Oh,
But
doubt it entirely. We already know de novo's in the game, so.
Yep.
Don't remind me.
But I think, well, okay, I guess the main thing I'm trying to say is, like, I think overall, especially for the PC player base, it's just a really good thing, because there's a lot of negative there's a negative view on PC speedrunning as it is, especially with certain allegations that have gone around. And then for me on the moderating side, since there were so many mods that were included into the game, it made it really hard to suss out like a proper rule set for the regular quests. And then even on top of that, then there's like the really sneaky hidden mods that we caught some people using, where like, let's just say they had a weapon with 90% affinity. Well, they had a mod attached to their file that made it to where they were critting 100% of the time. And yeah, like you would think like, well, they got really lucky. Well, how lucky is lucky once you start looking at like 20 of their runs?
Yeah.
Right.
Like you don't notice it right away until you actually have to look at every single quest under a microscope. And I know that's what a lot of people disliked about the PC aspect for some.
I mean, that's just an aspect of like PC speedrunning for any video game, though. This is not, and like this is what I've been trying to tell people like over and over and over again. And once again, I think it's another conversation for another time. But every video game that's ever been on PC has had this level of scrutiny looked at it every single time because PC modding is so accessible. And because the like engines and stuff like that are accessible for developers, right? Like the way that they made the RE engine is so they can easily make video games. So that means we can easily make mods for it, you know? And you can't look at every speedrun the same level of scrutiny that Carl Jobs looks at speedruns when he makes a video. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
Right. We literally can't do it. I have 20 or 30 plus speedruns sitting in the queue right now just for Rise that were submitted in the past month. I'm not gonna look at every single one of those at that same level of scrutiny. I'm gonna open it up. I'm gonna look at it. If everything looks good, I'm gonna verify it. But it always takes a village, right? Like it takes a community that's like looking at this stuff, and like if we see a trend, like it takes that. But that's once again, I mean, a conversation for another time.
But you know? I guess overall, just the fact that you're able to show off this new content, I think it breathes a new lens for people who had that negative look on PC running in the first place, and just be like, okay, it's not all bad. Like, look at this awesome thing that you're able to do.
Sure.
Look at this awesome tournament that you're able to create. Some goofy shenanigans. Although I kind of wish we had the double mini Basarios. I think that would have been like the peak for me, but I'm happy with the super tiny Garen Golem mixed with his super overly large Andre the Giant brother.
Yeah. Shout out to everyone.
Yeah, I thought the custom quests were great. All in all, just great. And like you said, that's a good way to show modding isn't always evil. It's not always 100% crit. It's not always 1,000 para on dual blades. It's that sometimes people just make things that are fun and nice to share with other people.
I think for sure with the other people who participated, like I would love to hear their feedback about what they thought about the quests, because I think we have a good basis, but I do think the 2 weeks maybe wasn't long enough to really like see if every weapon is viable in the quest that people really wanted to play. But now that we have a basis, I think once we do kind of round out all the arena quests, we can continue to add on if we want to, maybe like two or three each event or something, like a new arena quest, just so that we have like at least a basis of arena quest that we know works really well with any weapon, with any kind of player, kind of thing. But with Wilds, I guess this question is going to be for Nightside or anyone else too, anyone who does speedrunning and stuff. For Wilds, because there's so much stuff going on in the quest, what is your idea when it comes to CGS? Are you guys going to add any like rules of how that works, or are we keeping it kind of just like free and like whatever happens if it happens in your run, like if you get hit by lightning 5 times, like we're gonna keep it that way? Like, what is your idea with CGS and Wilds coming out and how that's going to be integrated together?
Knight, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I was gonna say that it's going to be largely dependent on whether or not, you know, we can actively influence the time and the weather of like the quests and stuff like that, right? Because like right now we don't know if we're gonna have arena quests. But you know, every monster hunter game that we've had in like what the last 10 plus years have had arena quests. So the easiest answer to that is that if arena quests are in there, that's CGS3 right there, because it'll be perfect timing wise. Well, you know, no one will have had that much time with like arena quests and stuff like that, so it'll still be relatively fresh, or it'll be really fresh for a lot of people that are watching and a lot of people that are competing, right? Everyone will be on the same playing field. But let's say, for example, maybe like a year later we decide to do a run up to CGS3 Wilds tournament. So then that's when we'll have to consider, you know, how do we want to approach this, right? We'd have to see if, you know, it would be great if we could somehow come up with like, you know, custom quests where we can actively influence that. Hey, even if you're in the fallow period, and you know, there's a bunch of lightning in this custom quest, there's no lightning, there's just sand. You know what I mean? Or if we can't do custom quests, then we have to do things like, for example, I was kind of like thinking about this for future Monster Hunter World and like Rise Sunbreak tournaments that you know, if we decide to potentially do in the future, but we want to include console players, is choose a quest that is in, you know, the gathering hall, but set parameters, so they have to make these 5 sets for that quest, right? That would be the only other way to kind of like go about it. And then you know, we would just have to try and pick maps where the environment doesn't attack. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a bunch of ways to kind of like go about it. I don't think there's any like clear-cut way to kind of say like this is right, this is wrong, because like even like when Iceborne came out and Clutch Claw was a thing, there was like a bunch of people throwing out runs where it was like, oh, this is a TA Wiki run with Clutch Claw, this is a TA Wiki run without Clutch Claw, and stuff like that. There's always going to be people that are not going to agree. For like, to be perfectly honest, I could even say that we maybe for CGS3 we just say, hey, if it's like a map that has lightning in it, if it gets hit, it gets hit. You know, it's just that's just what it is, and you know, that's just the rule set for that tournament. And if people hate it, they'll let us know in like the surveys. But I mean, until like the full game comes out and we have like access to everything that's in it, it's gonna be hard to kind of say which way we go. That's probably the best way I can answer that.
Personally, I wouldn't mind it. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Honestly. It's gonna be a new game. It's gonna be a new experience, and like that's the kind of the approach that we're taking. Because I don't want to say that like what ultimately we decide for MHSR is probably what's gonna be like the basis for speedrunning, but that's what our plan is, right? Like we know freestyle is gonna be a thing, so like we have a beta leaderboard for Wilds right now, and the only category that's on there is freestyle because we don't know enough about the game. Excuse me, we don't know enough about the game to start limiting it, restricting it, creating TA Wiki style rule sets or simple style rules or classic style rules, whatever you want to call it, right? And so it'll really just mirror, one, what is going to be doable in a game, and two, what's the community going to like the most. And we already know that like the community doesn't like the community has a affinity against, I should say, the freestyle speedruns right now that are drop 3 rocks on the monster that does about 40% of their health or 60% of their health, and then we just beat the crap out of it with any weapon to finish it in about 2.5 minutes. Like, that's okay, you know? Like, and like as far as like speedrunning is concerned, that's a viable method to do it. We'll moderate it, but does that make an interesting show for a speedrun tournament? Who knows? I have some ideas about like how to approach this in a future iteration, because like when you start to allow like the free roaming style of the game, you start to introduce elements of RNG, and the only way you start to make that fair in a tournament setting is introduce a long enough hunt that the elements of RNG can be in your favor or against your favor multiple times, you know? So like, I think huntathons are going to be a better way to like portray Wilds, at least from what we've seen with like the beta. Like, okay, you're going to start a quest, you have to hunt these 3 monsters. And because we've extended the amount of time in the quest, we've extended your possibility of good and bad RNG. The biggest reason
doing that with the demo, I know at TwitchCon we were like, who can beat the 3 monsters the fastest in the demo, and I think I agree with that. Is like definitely huntathons is going to be something we could probably think about.
And the thing with the world demo too, right before it came out, the Ancient Forest Massacre, kill all 3 before as fast as you can. I have one of those sitting around somewhere.
and we had a leaderboard for it, right? And like that's why we have, because like people were like saying like, why the hell did you make a leaderboard for the beta? It's like, because this is how we get early feedback on how the game works and on what speedrunners like to do and what they don't like to do and what people want to do and what they don't want to do. This is how we figure out early exploits and expectations with the game. So when the game comes out, it doesn't take us 2 months to put up a leaderboard, but 1 instead. You know, like the embargo for Rise was literally 4 weeks. You know, like we didn't accept any runs on the Rise leaderboard for 4 weeks, and if people submitted them, we immediately rejected them. We're like, you have to wait. I'm sorry, like this is closed. And it wasn't until like we actually had like the time to like play the game that we were able to figure out how to run it, right? So like, I mean, what Nightside, we have to, unfortunately, we have to wait, but we can start like theory crafting, but there's nothing ever like set in stone. It's all like spitballing until the game is out and we can like try it and like make a proof of concept. Because yeah, like and the way the optional quests worked in the beta too is kind of unique, right? The only point of RNG was HP. The monster spawned in the same-ish area.
Yep.
The monster had a fixed size. The time of day and weather condition was fixed. So realistically, if optional quests all operate like that in the full release, I highly doubt it. But if they do, the only point of RNG is HP, in which case I say send it. We don't need to mod the game. We can just do it like that. If there's only 1 point of RNG, let's do it that way. Unfortunately, Rise isn't built that way. You know, you have size, location, HP pool, small monsters. You have so many random variables in Rise that like us doing that just like the moment the quest starts, the other team will know whether or not they lost 40 seconds or not. You know, and so it's like
being which element.
It that's why we had to make a modded quest pack. 1, to keep it fresh, and 2, to actually make it even and standardized for everyone, right? Because like if we're gonna put up a prize pool like we did, which like real quick, shout outs to that prize pool.
I can't take all the credit for that. Vanessa helped us a lot with Logitech.
You guys did an amazing job like setting up those connections though, right? Because like now they know who we are and now they know what we do, and now we can set an expectation for the next one, and I hope they were happy with how it ran and the way that we portrayed their sponsorship. And I hope
on
that
Logitech side, they actually enjoyed it.
Okay, good.
Nice.
Intel hates us, right? Right, Knight? Intel hates us.
What's up?
Intel hates us. They despise never again.
Oh, dude, they hated us so
CGS
much
who?
that they said that when the Wilds tournament happens or when we start planning that, we need to contact them so that they can get in touch with us for that.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
They don't even
Let's
call
go.
us,
Hey,
dude.
runners, if y'all
They
not
obviously
hearing
hate
this, get them GPUs ready, bro. Look.
You need it. That's
I'm still looking at my mailbox right now. Like just every day, I'm just like, is it there?
Yeah, I think Intel actually said
stuff
that
here yet?
they just started sending this stuff, so hopefully you guys
Cool.
should see it within a week or so. But
That's awesome.
honestly, like
Love it.
I'm
I'll check my
still
mailbox.
subconsciously in shock and in awe that like between like just how much between each tournament that we've just grown. Like it wasn't like a little bit of growth, it was like huge jumps.
It was like dude.
I was so surprised to find out that y'all guys had Intel sponsoring it, and all of a sudden, like computer parts were on the line. I was like,
Yup.
"Holy
It turned
crap!"
super legit.
Like this is the thing.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, if this is in the middle of the week, I gotta take a day off.
But see, I love that it adds to the competition, it adds to the urgency, it adds to the stakes, it adds to the entertainment. Like when we can do prizes like this is what makes it. Like honestly, this is what makes runners and non-runners alike be like, okay, let's step our game up. This isn't just fun anymore.
I will say,
no more.
when Waifu and I got second place, we were like, we already won. We got upgrades for our PC.
Yeah,
We're all-
exactly.
we won.
Right? that's kind of the. I mean, that's the stakes that we wanted to like put out there to people. Is that like this is not small stakes. These are, you know, multi-$100, if not more, upgrades for some people. Like this is completely free for you to participate in. This is something that we wanted to do for you guys, the community. Anyone is welcome to enter this. That was the goal. Like after MHSR, Knight and I were saying the next one has to be open. The next one has to like let other people participate. And like I don't know, Knight, did you talk about like the participation for the qualifier for this one or even for the last one? Is that something that you're like comfortable talking about?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because I want you now that we are after the fact, I think this is a fair time to talk about this.
Yeah, absolutely. You mean like just talk about like how we came up with like the qualifying process, or?
I'm more so alluding to the number of participants.
Oh.
To illustrate to people how their chances may have looked even for this one.
Hold on, I gotta go pull up my spreadsheet really quickly.
Yeah.
I'm curious because I don't even know these numbers.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, this isn't to say anything about the people that participated. Everyone that did, we love you guys. You guys did a fantastic job, and we went into this with a specific expectation, and knowing what is on the line, even for possibly CGS3, I think this is a fair conversation to have to illustrate to other people, you should try to do this. You should
I
participate in
remember
this.
like I was talking about it with my wife and waifu.
That's great.
That there was 7 teams that was in it, and 4th place still got a prize. So we had at least practically about a 50% chance to get something.
You had more than a 50% chance to get something.
Yep.
Exactly.
You had to
much-
beat less
why
than half
not?
the field.
Yeah, and as much as I hate to say this, sometimes having those big prizes also shows how serious we are about having this and holding this, and this being something that will continue in the future.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'm just really happy that the companies that sponsored said yes and saw everything, and that's also kudos to Nightside making it look so nice with all the graphics and professional and everything. So
Presentation matters.
I can't take all the credit for that. I mean, I did all the OBS switching and some of the graphic work, but a good chunk of the kudos there actually go to Inferno Heiku, who's basically like the resident freaking designer for my stuff, my and then my Discord community, and then also for all things CGS. Like I threw like so much stuff at him, and he just hammered it out like literally 15 minutes there. I was like, wait, what? You just slapped this together? It looks so good. What the hell?
It was really funny, even like the morning of day 2, because we weren't sure, like Lumini, you and waifu, if you're gonna be able to
Oh my
join.
god, that was
we were
so
already
scary.
trying.
That was
We were
so
already trying to
scary.
like redesign things, and Heiko like instantly went through and like made a brand new graphic, and we're like, "Are you okay? Who are you? Are you fine?
Love it.
How did you do that?"
Legend.
That was so
Phil,
scary.
now that you have the spreadsheet up, because like this isn't, and I want to preface this again, this isn't to say anything about the current participants. I just want to illustrate how participation went this time around, so you can really make an educated decision, because Wild is going to be a new game for everyone. This is a perfect time to learn how to do this. This is, if you've ever had the interest in speedrunning, now is a great time to do it, and you're incentivized to do it
definitely.
even
Hell
more.
yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm.
Which really, any time to learn speedrunning is a great time. We have people learning people in my community are learning the 0% speedrun 4 months before Wilds comes out. Okay, cool. Let's go.
Let's go. So I have the forms right here. So for CGS1, we had a total of, let me see here. We had 10 teams I think 9. Yeah, so we had about 9 teams total actually sign up for the actual tournament. And then one was kind of like a fill-in just in case anything happened to the main 8 teams, right? And I think ultimately we ended up having, I think we had 1 dropout in CGS1, if I'm not mistaken. So we ultimately
I
had
think that was me.
7 teams for,
I remember right.
yeah, so we ultimately had 7 teams for that tournament. And then for CGS2, I barely had, I want to say, freaking 5 teams by the time, maybe 4 teams. Yeah, I had about maybe 5 teams by the end of the signups, meaning that like we had 3
empty spots.
3 empty spots. right?
Wow.
And I had to like reach out to like a bunch of people, and a bunch of people that were in a part of CGS were also reaching out to a bunch of people, just trying to see if you could source a bunch of like teams, you know. Like I know Zensei had like managed to like grab like 1 or 2 teams for us, and then one of them had to drop out too, as we were getting closer and closer to like, you know, the 2-week mark for CGS. So thank God that we managed to pick up like, you know, Team LS and the Guiding Monkeys. But it's like that just kind of goes to show you how like, you know, like we tried to, I mean, the idea is that we have an open qualifier where there's a bunch of people that from day one already are in it. You know, they're committed to try and, you know, do the best that they can. And that's why we made the qualifier process the way that it is. It's just to make sure that you're committed to even just the pre-qualifier run. So that way we can gauge how serious you are for the actual tournament. Because if we just started pulling random people, like, hey, just join this thing. Yeah. You know,
but it's also built in there in case we get more than 8 participants, right? Like the expectation, because we had a lot of really good traction from MHSR, but that one we had a really long gap in. And then after CGS1, we had a lot of people. I had a lot of people messaging me like, bro, how do I participate in this next? I'm like, I tweeted this out so much. Like, what do you mean? How do you participate? I tweeted this stuff. I sent DMs to people. I sent forms directly to like teams and like to speedrunners. I'm like, share this with your people, and no one participated, and no one else wanted to jump in on this thing. And that's what I'm like saying here, guys. Like, we're putting this like big thing together that has a decent viewership. That is a really good opportunity, one, for speedrunners to just put themselves in another public space. This is what I've been telling people all the time. If you want to grow as a content creator, you have to put yourself in other places. This is an opportunity to do that. We're building another Monster Hunter community base here. Take advantage of it. We want you to. That's why we have the creator spotlights. That's why we shill out your social medias when you participate. That's why we talk about you on social media. That's why we push all of this, because we want to create a community base here that helps amplify you guys, right? And like in the same vein, I just did a show on GDQ Hotfix, right? Much bigger platform, right? But in the same vein, that's the kind of the goal that we're trying to do here, is we're trying to create something that people can ultimately come back to, and it exposes you to a brand new audience. And that's a great way to grow as a content creator, especially as a speedrunner. Especially
since like I'll definitely say right now, granted, I'm having problems because me personally, I'm a very lazy person, and I put a bunch of projects on the backside. After participating in that tournament, I have at least gained 5 subscribers since then, which for me, that's huge, because I don't normally see a whole lot of traction on my channel. So, I mean, like you said, it's a good way for us to actually put ourselves out there if we're actually interested in trying to grow our channels and trying to grow our audience. And for me, the basis for my channel is like, I just want to show people that a Joe Schmo can just come on in, put a little bit of hard work in it, and then bam, here's a run.
Yep.
Yeah, I say it again, that this whole like concept is something like, aside from CGS, is something I've said like hard, like, and even most of my content too, the same way. Like, I'm really big on shining a huge spotlight on speedrunners and saying, hey bro, like, y'all put in this work. I see you guys consistently. I'm one of you, you know what I mean? Like, consistently putting in a lot of this work to like just showcase skill, showcase strategy. Not only that, bro, take away the negative, they bring in so much positive for the community. I started playing Monster Hunter because I saw Team Darkside, you know what I mean? And it wasn't like what happened going wrong. For me, it was, dude, like literally watching them take out Nergigante like instantly, and take out the Behemoth, you know what I mean, in under 5 minutes, bro. Like, it was crazy. And seeing that was like, yo, this is so cool. There's a competition in a PvE game that is still fun, not toxic, positive. What? Yeah, W, fat W. Let's do it. Absolutely. So, I encourage viewers, man. If you guys, even if you're not a runner, like, take away the weight of that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he's a runner or whatever. Like, and you just love Monster Hunter, and you like making like just cool stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just cool videos, cool things. This is a hobby for you. This isn't a career for you. Bro, do it. Do it. This is what life is about right here. Jumping in with friends, connecting with community, you know what I'm saying? Zen vibes, bro. Like just relaxing and having fun and showing off what you're doing. Like I see that and it just lights a fire underneath my heart, bro. Like yes, this is that opportunity to do it 100%.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Like participating in this tournament with Waifu was definitely one of the most fun moments I've had in Sunbreak's whole like runtime so far.
Yeah.
So I would say it's so worth it.
Yeah.
I kind of want to add to what Sensei was saying too, where even if you think about signing up for a tournament, you're probably going to think, well, if I can't get first or second, why would I bother joining it? But I feel like this tournament as well also has the brilliant Grand Prix debut on like day one that we did. And that guarantees that you will have screen time. You will get an interview. You will be able to show yourself for what kind of person you are. If you want to, maybe show what you're doing outside of that stuff, the community spotlight. There's so many ways to just be exposed, be involved in the community. It doesn't just have to be the first place or second place win. There's still plenty of reasons you want to do this just to show, how you can get involved in the community. I think it's absolutely worth it and people should be doing it. There was PC only, with the custom quests this time, but for Wilds, sorry. It's crossplay. There's not really much of an excuse. If you want to do it, you can absolutely do it and play with anybody now. So you should really get on it.
Yeah.
100%.
100%. Yeah. Bad exposure.
Actually, I have a question for our interviewers real quick, because I think the two interviewers that we have right here were actually the two interviewers that actually interviewed our Japanese teams. How'd you guys feel about that? How was the experience for you guys? I'm very curious as someone that had to be there to help translate everything for you.
You had to translate literally everything for us.
I thought that was so cool. I'm not
Absolute
even gonna lie.
hero. I guess I'll go first.
Yeah, feel free. Ladies first.
It was so much fun. I think I was telling this to the interviewers when I decided to become an interviewer and you accepted and stuff. I had made a whole sheet of here's the questions, this is how, here's some notes, this and this. I got our two interviewers, Zeno and Skoy, and we just went over everything. And I think it was just more, at least on my side, it was just more interesting to talk to a lot of the foreign teams just to see what they thought about the speedrunning thing and how what Monster Hunter means to them, and just the differences between the communities, because it's the same in Evo. The communities, the Japanese communities, the Chinese communities, the American communities, the European communities, they're all pretty different, but they all come together because of one game or a one event. And that's why it was so much fun to talk with them. And also, but all the teams I interviewed were so sweet. I'm so glad they answered my goofy questions and were okay with it. But yeah, it was just fun to see what they thought of the game and what they thought of the competition. And I think I'm more excited to see what they thought of the competition now that it's been done and over with. And I would love to see what their insight on what we can improve, what we can work on, and how to even make it more accessible to other foreign teams. I want to know that, because like I said, we and what Jal and Nightside said, they want this to branch out to other places around the world. And so in order to do that, I would like to see what would be better help them for future competitions.
Yeah.
I pretty much agree with all of that. I have nothing to add. No, I was a little bit nervous, not gonna lie, because I've never done an interview with anybody from Japan in my life, so this was a cool bucket list sort of thing where, hey, I can say I did that for once. But just the culture gap, trying to make sure I don't come off as crass or rude or a lot of etiquette stuff like that. But I'm really glad once I got into the questions and end of the day, you just see it's no, they're still humans. They still got their sense of humor, especially Team LS. It's you got to point and laugh, where it's okay, we already know what weapon you're going to play for sure, but why? I think even Saku saying that she wants, or was it Yamatsu Kami to come back? I was just
yeah.
that is a pull. But it's a real it's a real pleasure to do that, but it's also just great to see more of the culture in Monster Hunter. It's not just strictly the West or like, America, if you will. It takes all kinds. People love this game the world over. So I think the closer we can get to that, the more impressive it'll be. Obviously, it'd be great if we had more than one person that knew Japanese, but hey, listen, you made it happen. I still love it regardless.
I tried. It was actually fun to
Use a little bit of Japanese.
interview the guiding monkeys, because I did take Japanese for a couple years, but I forgot most of it. But when they were talking, I was like, okay, I know that word. Okay, I think this is what they're saying. But no, it was awesome to see what they thought, and then having you translate and everything made it such a smoother way of interviewing them.
Yeah.
So.
I can't begin to tell you how nervous it was for me too, because I think it's one thing if that's what I'm on, for work for, because like I've done translation and interpretation for Evo, both on like videos for interviews, and also like doing like a live interview, right, where I was doing it on the spot. But then having to do the entirety of like the CGS production on top of doing that too.
Yeah.
I was like,
brain.
I was trying really hard. I think there was one time where I actually asked you, Vanessa, to repeat the question because I had a thought that flipped through my head. I was like, oh God, is this going okay on CGS's back end? Like, where, you know what I mean? It's like, did we fix this issue?
And then on
Am
top of that,
am I
your
speaking?
brain is like switching between English brain and Japanese brain.
Yeah.
That is something, and a lot of like bilingual people can attest to that. I'm surprised you didn't just start speaking straight Japanese to me during the interview.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it was really cool also, as far as the interview like aspect is concerned, to really see the stories from the runners.
Yeah.
Like to see, how, like we got to see what's it called? One of the runners had an anniversary that was going on. And another runner found out the reason why they even began running, or they liked a certain type of monster and they played that monster in a certain grade or whatever. Like I think that's pretty cool. Like that's another aspect of where Monster Hunter is just a catalyst for people to just connect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to be a part of that, it's just like, yeah. I think the interview aspect of it specifically really garners that type of human connection outside of just the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, with the commentators too, you guys do a wonderful job of just keeping everyone on their heels and just excited for the event. I honestly, seeing you in Jitsu reminded me of, so I'm friends with Rip. He does Tekken commentating, and him and Tasty Steve are just so funny. And honestly, I immediately, when I saw you guys commentating, I immediately thought of them. And I was like, oh man, these two can really be the face of like commentating, like the funny. Like there's so many commentators that commentate several games, and within games there's more than like a handful of commentators. But there's definitely some that stand out, and honestly, like my brain immediately thought of those two when I saw you guys commentating, and I was like, oh my God, that it just works. Like the synergy's there. And not saying that there wasn't synergy with the other commentators. I think
No, but theirs was natural.
Yeah, it was natural, but also we have such a good variety of different synergy with different commentators. Like you have the hype ones, you have the very knowledgeable ones, you have like the ones that are like great friends. I know it was like Forrest and Nix and
The funny ones.
the funny ones, Parodi. Like we have such a good mix of commentators. So it's like whatever personality you vibe with, we have it. And yeah, I just loved watching everyone.
Yeah.
Love it, man. It was good.
It's not just commentators, but the variety of them makes it very fun.
Yes.
I agree.
Diversity is so amazing. Love
I
it.
enjoyed putting the stream in the background while me and Waifu were goofing off in between rounds. Because admittedly, after a while we were waiting in between the intermission periods and during the break period, we both started doing a duo naked Guys McGorm run. So while this
Casual.
competition is going on, and y'all guys and your awesome personalities are in the background, helping me keep in there, here's naked guys McGorm. Like, waifu actually messaged me last night, like, hey man, you want to join me for some more naked guys McGorm?
This is our new Coke category.
If somebody didn't know what Monster was, that would sound so weird.
A naked guys McGorm, you say, huh?
What?
You know,
Like, naked guys McGorm? Not today, sorry.
you know how like
Celebrate your birthday.
you know how
Maybe
like
tomorrow.
couples have that like code word. It's like when they want like action,
Yeah.
they it's like
Yeah,
I can see
naked
waifu
guys
Chan
McGorm.
walking up to I can see waifu Chan walking up to Lumina. Hey guys, McGorm, I'm up.
Pull up.
Say less.
Just a monster.
Quick
Not
couple
just a monster.
quick couple of shout outs before I forget real quickly. I don't know if I said it enough when we were doing the first tournament, or sorry, not the first tournament. Well, first tournament too, but like the second tournament, especially because we had custom quests. I know I said thank you and like shouted out like our quest crew, but I don't think it can be stated enough how much work that they put into CGS 2, because to be perfectly honest, guys, it was about 3 to 4 months worth of planning and testing. That's how much work they put in just for 6 quests. And we originally had planned for more than 6 quests, but I mean, timing wise,
21.
Yep. Yeah, we really wanted to put people through the
first
gauntlet.
meeting, we were like, oh, this will be easy. Let's make 21.
Yeah, just change the numbers. It'll totally work right off the
and,
bat, right?
And to run 21 different quests all at once would also be pretty
And
tough.
so that was like the big one too. But yeah, no, it quickly
Yeah.
when we realized it's gonna take us 2 weeks to make 2 quests, shorten that list. Yeah, continue. No, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. But like that was actually one of our first major pivots, you know, for the tournament. And like, thank God that like, you know, freaking the quest crew team were so diligent with like planning and testing and trying to get these things. Like heck, I was even a part of like trying to get that off the ground running, trying to like, you know, figure out how we do these tools and stuff like that. So huge shout outs to Zug, Luigi, and Meki and Action for, you know, taking the helm on that and really putting that together. I think the end product that they came up with was amazing. Like, I know that there were some, you know, some critiques coming back from some of the players in regards to like, you know, how certain quests were and stuff like that. And, you know, they're all very, very valid. I mean, at the end of the day, it was one of those things that, you know, we just need them to kind of be as understanding as possible and as patient as possible, because like, you know, everyone was doing this for basically the first time. I don't think anyone that was on the quest crew was, you know, an established programmer for that specific, you know, purpose. So just the fact that they were able to pull this off is nothing short of amazing. And I can't stress enough how, you know, quite literally without the quest crew team, I don't think CGS2 would have nearly has been the success that it was this time around. So huge shout outs to them and hats off to them. So
And as far as I'm aware, this is like the first time arena custom quests have been around, right?
yeah.
See, that's what I thought, because yeah, we could do custom quests for the regular quests, but this is my first time ever seeing a custom arena quest.
Yep.
Yeah. That was
And
like
I
the
think
big
that
big
was
thing.
super awesome that they were able to essentially begin to break the mold, figure out what they could do, and the fact that they found out that they could do it. I agree. It really changed the scope of this CGS and how it was perceived.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like the next major big step for CGS is to somehow work with Capcom if you never get to that point, because, you know, obviously we show that, you know, and we've seen Capcom put out like custom quests for like, you know, tournaments before, you know what I mean? And it's one of those things that if we can somehow work with like Capcom to get like tools to create these quests, or have them do it officially on their end and then just implement it, then it would just make like the tournament that much more official. You know what I mean? Like we can do it on actual official means and stuff like that, and it would further legitimize, well, sorry, I don't want to say legitimize, but it would further broaden the horizon and the span of the kind of content that we can see from Monster Hunter. Because if we can somehow start getting, I don't think Capcom would ever do this, or the Monster Hunter team would ever do this, but if we ever got to a point where we can do like user generated content, or UGC for short, where they create like a playlist of like certain arena quests or even just regular quests, it would be huge for creators and just for
that'd be
the
wild.
community.
It'd be massive. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Somebody
So, at the
say
same time-
wild.
What?
Wild.
I don't get
But
it.
yeah, I think
I hate that you said that with a straight face, man.
I keep telling you, it's just something. It's just gonna happen, and then everyone's gonna be like, "Wait, I said it, didn't I?" And it's gonna be that way the whole time for the next 2 years.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
But
man.
even though you
Five.
didn't want to use the word legitimize, I think if we can get Capcom on board in any way, shape, or form, I think more people would be like, "Oh yeah, this is official." Like,
Mhm.
I definitely want to
Mhm.
join. I think
Yeah.
we're at that phase. We're in a weird phase. I think we had amazing sponsors, but also we've only had 2 events. You know,
Correct.
so people are still kind of wondering, is this real?
Yeah.
Is this legit? You know, like, should I join?
Not,
Like,
not to mention
know.
we chose the lesser sorry, not lesser, the less played
Least
option.
popular.
Yeah, the least popular.
At least popular.
Yeah, least
Mhm.
popular
say it.
Monster Hunter.
Doesn't mean it does. It's not a dig. It's not a dig at Rise. It's,
great,
not a
but
dig at
it's true.
No, no, no,
Sunrays.
absolutely.
It is absolutely the least
Correct.
popular title.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was still this successful. But the other reason too why we picked it is, 1, because we did the last tournament in World, and 2, we did not have the ability to create custom quests in World. So that's the bigger reason why we picked Rise, because we were talking about it, World or Rise. I was like, we should do World. We should keep doing World. The World's the popular thing right now. Let's do World. And then we realized, oh, we can't do the thing we want to do in World. It's just going to be a repeat of what we already did.
Yeah.
So we didn't want to do that.
I didn't know you couldn't make custom quests in World. Interesting.
The tools are not as easily available as they were for Rise.
Yeah.
So you can create custom quests, but creating the custom arena quest that was the big question mark. Like, a lot of people were just like, that technology doesn't exist.
Yeah, 'cause
See,
from what I have seen, like, there's not exactly a whole lot of just regular custom quests as it is, just because the bar for making them is a lot higher.
Yeah.
Because I could tell you right now, the only 2 custom quests that immediately stick out to my mind is this one that Azzy GL has been doing for quite a while. He's doing it like once every day until Wilds comes out. What was it called, Zensei?
Is it like a Sapphire Elders quest or something?
Yeah,
along those
essentially, like,
lines?
you gotta
Yeah.
fight Ruin Nergigante, Safi Jiva, I think both Elatrion forms, and one other crazy Elder Dragon within a
Like a
span of
Deathmark.
like 40 minutes or so. And he's been doing it every day. The other one that comes to mind is this one custom quest I downloaded because I wanted a fast way to get money without having to open up a cheat engine. And it was like, kill this great Jagras. Here's a bunch of eggs.
Nice.
Interesting work there.
So
Tell me
that's
more
why
about
the
his
Jagger's
egg.
so giant.
I remember there being some custom quests that I got at one time for the arena coins because I hate arena quests normally. So that was another.
Yeah.
But I definitely
Nightside,
remember a whole suite of those.
I did have one question, somewhat a joke, kind of legit. So, recently this week, the Switch 2 was confirmed to have backwards compatibility. So I kind of wonder, what are the chances of GU ever coming back?
It's a
that might
possibility.
still be the game on Switch.
It's a
you know?
possibility. 100%. I mean, it's something that I've always played
I would
around
love
with.
it, but
And I think it would be really cool to see, older generations of Monster Hunter get some kind of scene. And I think what I would like to do is maybe develop CGS a little bit more, so then that way once we get to quite a sizable following, we can get people to be interested in seeing what the legacy Monster Hunter games were like in a tournament format style. So
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
There's 2 things that I would love to see in tangent with that. would be one, I would love to see, like you said, see different Monster Hunters get like different recognitions and time frames. But it'd be cool if you ended up having two teams, like or like multiple teams that work on multiple like tournaments. Obviously, we have our big like CGS tournament, right? But like little mini things that we do in between. I think that'd be kind of cool to do that, or even more so. I'll be excited for us to actually get like a freaking venue, you know what I mean? And like,
oh my god,
do like you know what I'm saying? Like do it huge, have like cosplayers there, and have like
that's the dream.
Bro, it would be amazing.
That's where I'll show up to the competition.
It would be amazing. Like that'll be a big crescendo. Like, look. We need to keep this clip, okay? Because if it happens and I say it, I want to be on the big screen saying it. This moment right here said, dude, a venue. This will be fire. That's what I want.
It's so funny that he
production control room, the dream.
Yeah.
Yes, bro.
It's so funny that he mentions
Eventually.
that because I've been like only talking about this for like forever. With Bagel. Bagel knows I've been talking about this for like freaking forever, but it's like we would love to have like a actual venue. And like do it in person, be like the actual next Festa instead of just being Festa at home online. And we wanted to get to a point where we can have multiple events and multiple tourneys just planned, but I mean that's part of the problem that we face as a grassroots organization, because like obviously everyone that's been working on the production is a volunteer, so there's only a certain level of commitment you can ask. Unless someone is my ride or die, I can't ask anyone to do that. You know what I mean? Especially with like time zones, people with their families, their jobs, work, other, content creation. Yeah, no, it's huge.
We had like 20 people commit 2 days to us, like 6 hours a day, for a whole weekend. And then even all of the setup before then, you guys committed a ton of time to us tonight to put on this production. There's only so much that we can ask people to do, and we've had that conversation. Like, I've had that conversation. Like, where's the point that we get to that we have to start compensating people for their effort here? And as long as we're transparent about it, it's the thing that we've always been talking about. Like, we'll keep moving forward with this. I feel like everyone's been comfortable with that, but if this thing ever started making money, then like we have to have that conversation,
Yeah.
And it's not a difficult conversation either. And Sensei, like you saying, like physical events, I keep my eye out for that kind of stuff all the time, because like that's where side events come in. I sent Knight the tournament form for AGDQ, because AGDQ runs side tournaments during it, so that people that are attending like have other things to do, that go and do. And like at the last SGDQ, they had like an arcade room, and they always have like little panels and like breakouts, and they have a bunch of tournaments that they run, and it's really mostly for people that are there to like just kind of come and join. But like there's no reason that we couldn't like make a CGS tournament for AGDQ, make a CGS tournament for PAX West, make a CGS tournament for TwitchCon. There's no reason that we can't do these things. They just cost a lot of freaking money, because like now we're putting ourselves like way out there as to like, they don't provide anything. They give you a booth space and they're like, and here's like a couple of tables. The rest is you, dude. Like you've got to get your computers there, you've got to get your equipment there, you've got to get your people there, you've got to get your setup there, you've got to implement it and stuff like that. It's a huge step, but it's definitely something that like I know Knight's been talking about and thinking about, and I've been thinking about it, because yeah, man, that's hype. That's the natural progression of this kind of stuff. That's what we want to do. And like, so starting with like smaller stuff and working our way up into something that is possible. But I definitely feel that like the strategy moving forward, especially with Wilds, is that we can do Wilds vanilla for a while. Yeah, we can do Wilds vanilla for a while. Yeah. I didn't like that sentence. I didn't like that sentence at all. But we can do vanilla for a while. The reason we couldn't do it for this one is because it's just so outplayed. It's so overplayed. Like it's been out for 3 or 4 years now. Like World's been out for 6. These games have been played. We needed to do something fresh for them.
Yeah.
But for Wilds, we can do something a little bit vanilla, and then try to like get 2 or 3 vanilla events in. And that was a big thing that Capcom creators even said to us, like, we can't really interact with you guys. We can't signal boost you guys if you are doing things that are modded, if you are doing things that we don't care that you're doing it, like that more or less what they said to us.
Yep.
Like, we're not gonna like come after you or like do anything as long as it's not egregious, as long as you're not stealing from the game, as long as you're not like breaking the code or like doing things unintentional or like outside of just like quest design, like whatever. As long as you're like not going explicitly against Capcom TOS, like, you know, we're gonna turn a blind eye. But we also can't interact with it. So if we can get some like vanilla events in, then Capcom gets to interact with us. Then Capcom gets to ask us like, what do we need?
Yep.
You know?
Okay. Yeah.
And so there might be some like growing pains, especially with the next one, that the expectation is we cannot standardize all of these quests for you guys. We cannot standardize everything for you. You are going to battle against RNG. You have to be okay with that as competitors, because there might be a situation that you lose because you just lose, right?
You get struck by that
And
sometimes.
I think
Get
straight
Mario
from an
Karted.
entertainment point of view, that'll be amazing from the viewer aspect.
correct.
Like, take away the competition from the actual like how speedrunners think. If we, you know, kind of bottle that up for a minute and put it in a corner and just think strictly just how the viewer feels, how the community feels. And I mean, and let's be honest, most viewers are not speedrunners. They're casuals and they deal with RNG like any other, you know, saying player deals with RNG rage, you know?
Yeah. No, but there's a way to do it. Like I was saying earlier, like hunt-a-thons extend the duration of the time of the quest and give more points of RNG that puts everyone like on the same line. Because like if you only have like 3 points of RNG every single time a quest starts, you can roll 3 really bad things. But now if you have 10, your odds are that you're going to roll about the same as everybody else, you know? So like that's always been like a thought in my head, which Lumini, we've talked about this before because we implemented it for MHSR Rise leaderboard, the gauntlets, right? The gauntlet quests were like a really cool thing where it's 5 quests in a row and you speed run those RTA style. You know, and so like
A lot of those are empty. If you want a free record, go ahead and do one.
Saying I built a lot of them. So
I got my Team Lightside record for Monster Hunter 1 right now. I'll stick to that.
But it's just one of those things that like I think, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but that's the direction that I think is the smart way to go, because then we can start interacting with the brand that makes that part of the tournament, right?
Yeah.
And then Knight, I know your only goal, like we're all talking about Monster Hunter because, you know, we just come off the Monster Hunter thing and we're all Monster Hunter creators and Monster Hunter is an addiction. But this allows us to also talk about Street Fighter 6. This allows us to talk about was it I almost said Concord. What's the
Exoprimal?
what's the one? Oh yeah, the finals. Yeah, it allows
I don't
us
know.
to talk about
Exoprimal. Are you talking about?
Exo.
Yeah.
Oh,
are we talking about
Capcom?
Oh, yeah. That was the
I'm
finals.
just talking about games in general. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
the finals.
Finals, or I mean anything really. Like it lets us branch out into other things because the developers now see that we're gonna play by their rules.
Yeah.
You know, and they're comfortable interacting with us. They don't want to shoot it down. Like Capcom can't interact because if they do, they have to address the elephant in the room, and that elephant is named modding, right?
Yep.
Like it's purple and made out of polygons and it doesn't belong in the game. And they're like, get Gammoth out of here, you know? Like, what'd you do?
Not to be confused with a low poly Wilds model.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Why does Fatalis look like Ray Dallas now?
What'd you do?
What'd you do? Actually,
No, but I think that's the natural progression
Yeah.
that we need to like seek out. But then speedrunners need to, like, the people that are participating need to understand. And I think that goes into like what Lumini was saying earlier, is that it does make it more casual, committable too. Like people at any skill level can now jump into this. There's a little bit of like randomness that is now involved in it. It helps bring the skill levels down. At a high competitive level, that's a really bad thing, but at the lower levels, it's a really good thing. It brings you closer to these people at the top. There's pros and cons to it all, but I think that's the better way for us to do it.
Yeah.
So we can now get our hand into the pocket of Capcom and create our own custom quests and arena quests that are designed for speedrunning and designed for tournaments, because even those arena quests that are in the game still have HP rolls, and that's bad. And they put that in Festa, so they're already designing RNG into it that you could just be screwed out of because it took an extra TCS to kill it, which is another 12 seconds. Like,
Oof.
So what they're saying is that they need to hire a quest design crew, guys, to design the arena quest for them.
Just
So,
us.
Just
hire us.
you know what? If they go to our card game series website, wink wink, nudge nudge, they could totally
Nudge,
see the
nudge.
names and the socials of the people that were on the quest design crew, in addition to all the participants, in addition to all the staff members and their social links. Wink wink, nudge nudge, shameless shill, hashtag ad.
Smooth.
Yeah, I gotta go through there and add everybody, I think.
That's how you
I
know he's
wonder-
professional.
I want to
love it.
reiterate what Jal was saying, was making this open for everyone, because that's pretty much what Evo is. You have the pros, and then you have the people who are like, I want to see how good I am,
Yeah.
how I stack up to these
Yeah.
pros. And I think if we're able to get Capcom on top of what we're doing, and then on top of that, just stick. I kind of want us to focus a lot on Monster Hunter, just because I think I told this to you, Nightside. Like, I don't want to put all our eggs in like different baskets, especially if we're trying to garner like a community and build a community, and and also build this as a brand.
Mhm.
You know, it's cart game series, you know, so immediately everyone's going to think Monster Hunter, you know. And I want us to be able to focus on something, because it's not about how big of a step you take towards your goal, it's as long as you take a step forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want us to make sure that we never take a step back, and that we're
Never.
always focused on something that we can round out and really create, you know, and make sure that we kind of give the attention it needs to grow. And so, yeah, I want this to be something that anyone can look at and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to totally join, because even if I'm not good enough to be like top 3 or top 5 or even top 10, I want people to be able to join and see how good they can get, and see, like, just challenge themselves, you know.
Yeah.
And us having that space for them to do that, I think, is gonna help build the community a lot bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely
Agreed.
agree. Very good point. Very
That's
good.
where I was at. I don't know how good I'll be at this. Just gonna do it.
There you go.
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, and it was
That's
fun
what you
to
gotta do.
watch you guys.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch you guys.
It keeps the relatability there too. Like, I think because as we grow, like, be honest, coming in, even like, it's fun to see what new players, or even not like pro players, can do, because a lot of times as pro players we usually see the same thing over and over and over and over again. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
ain't gonna
sometimes
lie.
we get caught in our heads too about
Yeah.
how things will always look.
Yeah, but then when you get a new player that's like, no, screw this. Instead of going straight for the monster, we're jumping off cliffs. You know what I mean? We're shooting dun pogs and flash pods out of sequence. We don't care. You know what I mean? We're gonna give you the paralysis and the sleep knife right away. We don't care. There's no thought process. We're so unpredictable. Even we don't know our next move. You know what I mean? Like, that's how great we are. You know? So like, I think that's amazing. I think it's a catch-22. One, it garners new people to come in, so it's like, no matter who they are. Two, it actually encourages those who maybe are that good and be like, yo, I should run. I should be a speedrunner. I should do this. And then for those that aren't, or maybe not really into speedrunning, they're like, yo, this is just a good organization to be in. Let's just like hang out, you know what I mean, and just be in that. So I think it's a win-win in every situation possible if we keep it that way. I like it. I like it.
Cool.
It's good stuff, man.
So we are getting close to the 2-hour time limit that I set for ourselves. I'm trying to make sure that we don't go over, 2 hours. Like I say, we always will hit, but end up going for 3 hours. Which I'm sure, like, we
I'll
don't.
just leave.
Probably, yeah, exactly. But I mean, just out of
I'll
respect
get
to
up and go.
everyone's time.
Still gotta clean the house.
Yeah, but just to kind of wrap things up, I guess the last question that I have for all of us here, are there any hopes? I know we kind of already touched up on this, but are there any hopes, expectations, or anything that we hope to see out of the card game series for the future?
I just want more people to join. Because honestly, the way that I see it, the more people there are, the more exciting it gets, because then it adds a lot more crazy player variables into the mix. Because like you said, yeah, we only had like overall 7 teams ranging from like super hardcore speedrunners to the much more casual side, and it was just super fun seeing what everybody was doing. But if we actually had more teams, we can draw in more of a talent pool to come in there, because like next thing you know, we could have had guys that like they dedicate themselves to only doing naked runs for all we know, and like all of a sudden, all right, have some armor skills, what are you doing now?
Yeah.
And I think just to be able to see that would be really, really cool. Or like, would somebody who's, let's just say they're a fashion hunter, like would they primarily use sets that they think is only looking good regardless if it's better or worse, and then they're just trying to finish out their moves in style? Or like, what if we had the music video people? I mean, from what I know, I think that's mainly more of a Japanese thing still, where like you have some people, they just compile a bunch of the really, really awesome clips for their videos and essentially make the mad runs, where they just make a music video out of it. Would they compete and like try to make their finishes and dunks be as flashy as possible, to just like kind of flex on everybody in the tournament? See, if more people were in it, I think there would be more opportunities to see that sort of thing, and I think that would just be absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
We should start a Rate My Dunk freaking series for CGS.
Oh,
That
rate
would
my
be fun.
dunk. Oh, that'd be fire.
Actually, one of the things that I do want us to maybe kind of look into is, I've watched a lot of GDQ and how they have like always like these side things going on. I know that they get like artists to have people bid on stuff, and that goes to charity and then stuff like that. I want us to kind of dive into something similar, where the
Knight and I have
viewers
been talking about that.
Yeah, where the viewers can participate and also watch and be interactive. And another thing that I want to iterate is, community is a bunch of moving parts. It's not only just the viewers and the players, it's also us. I think we have a good basis and a good relationship with the community where we can actually make something amazing. And that goes for every aspect of the staff. Like, I think everyone is super passionate that worked on this, and I want everyone to picture themselves as a very important integral part of this thing. And for example, you know, when I did bring up Zen and Jitsu being like Rip and Tasty, like I want us to have our like commentators that people know. I want us to have the interviewers that people know, the teams that people know, the people that work in the back. I want people to know those people. And because we're fans and we did this for the fans, I think, like I said, we have a good relationship and a good standing to really make something amazing. So I hope people participate. I hope people share this, tell your friends, you know, watch us, all that stuff. And I think us as a team, I think I can say that we will be transparent with everyone. I think that's definitely gonna help foster this like trust and connection that people are gonna start building once we start having more events. So yeah, I just hope this does really, really well, because I believe in it. I believe we can do something, you know, as big as Evo eventually. But yeah, we'll see.
Yes, absolutely, man.
Can be the Evo Monster Hunter, man.
Let's go. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Dude, could you imagine? What if we have like an offshoot, or we just rebrand it as MHEvo?
It's Capcom adjacent. It'll work.
I love it.
It is Capcom adjacent, yeah.
I love it, man. Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
Anyone else want to
I think we all have like really high hopes for the next one, though. I think everyone's like really invested in it.
Yeah,
and that's good.
Yeah,
we just gotta, the big thing is just taking down, because like legitimately everything else ran so smoothly, it's just pulling some of that like effort off of Unite and figuring out our restreaming capabilities.
I already started talking to Pointy to talk to some of our friends to see if we can try and mess around with some RTMP stuff. So hopefully, if we can get that off the ground running, then it'll make CGS3 much smoother and probably a lot easier for everyone. And hopefully, we'll be able to do a little bit more remote stuff. So then that way, you know, for example, you know, maybe I can have 1 or 2 people dedicated to just changing out graphics. So all I have to do is just plug it into OBS and that's it.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Yeah, we'll talk about the specifics of that because I've been talking to GDQ staff about how they do things and how they do things for smaller events. And so the way GDQ does things, we cannot do.
Yep.
But there's people that run smaller events that are not GDQ associated that they have strategies and solutions. So, and there are more eloquent solutions that we can approach, and so there's a possibility of doing that. But yeah, we'll definitely, that's one of the bigger things to iron out. And honestly, some of the smaller like side events that we have been thinking about that night that you've been kind of promoting on your channel and talking about might help with that, you know, planning, right? Like we might do something for one of those side events that helps flesh out, you know, main stage events for CGS.
Yeah.
Like the big tournaments, right?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
We'll definitely think about that.
Cool. I guess the only closing statement that I have is that I wanted to touch base on one of the comments that came into chat as to whether or not the team at Capcom kind of looks at like the speedrunning community. They definitely do. We had a podcast with the community managers, and Nix and I had asked them the question about that, and they basically see the speedrunning community. They love it. They love to watch the speedruns themselves, and it's always kind of crazy for them to kind of see, because it's another aspect of the community that's just so huge, right? But the thing is that, you know, they don't want to put anything official on anything. They think that it's better if we curate that content ourselves and we curate those rule sets and stuff like that. Because like if they, just like how Bagel said earlier, it's like, you know, as soon as they, you know, make anything like official and stuff like that, if they put like an official stamp on something, that's where like a lot of restrictions kind of come into play, right? Yeah. So they think
you also don't want developers curating or moderating your rule sets.
Exactly.
You get bad things like oh crap, there was a game that came out recently that they just did this with, because there was a bounty on it, and the developers sponsored the bounty to get eyes on their game. But then when speedrunners were finding like glitches and skips that were unintentional, they were just like adding, they were moving the goalposts. They were just adding to it, like, oh, you can't do that, oh, you can't do that, oh, you can't do that. I think I'm almost positive it was the, oh my gosh, the Crab Dark Souls game.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
Another Crab's Treasure.
Oh,
yeah. I'm almost positive it was that. Don't quote me on that, because the developers for that were awesome. It was that, yeah, because I remember them tweeting out about it. Like they tweeted out the glitch and like retweeted like a little joke about it, and then like the runner got on there like a little salty about it, and they were just like, get over it, like kind of thing. And I was like, okay, this is a bad interaction. This is a bad speedrun community interaction, because they legitimately just moved the goalposts, right? Like, and we're like, yeah, you can't use that glitch. We don't that doesn't count for the bounty. And they were like, we found it. Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I wasn't good. I got nothing.
In regards to what you're saying, it actually makes me kind of happy that, and take what I'm saying like for what I'm saying, that Capcom allows kind of from the shadow supports rather than on the front run.
Yeah.
Yes, initially, like it's a give and take, bro. Like, because if you give that right away, like right outright, then you end up missing the core elements that make the community the community. You know what I mean? And that's happened so much. Usually, you know, a lot of times corporate comes in, corporate has to keep certain standards because they're corporate. You know what I mean? Like, you have to. But it's good that Capcom understands that community is what garners like a lot of your game and a lot of your excitement, and not corporate rules. Corporate rules is for corporate, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think we have a great opportunity to stay in Capcom's good graces, but also pioneer a way to do this in a way that is unknown. You know what I mean? And that's the excitement part. That's the part where when we get the boxing gloves on and we got, you thinking a different direction, Nike thinking a different direction, Fruit thinking a different direction. And then we're just like, everybody's gotten in this think tank of like, how can we garner revenue? How can we garner a different audience? How can we get into the Japanese community? And we're combining that, and then it becomes our own thing that Capcom silently supports. Like, it's like, that'd be amazing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I can.
So
I
think
better
direct
myself.
support is still kind of great though too. But as far as like the speedrunning community, you want the silent support from them. You want them to like recognize that it's a thing, but not get innately involved in it, because that's when speedrunning becomes like boring. Either the developer like sees what you're doing in speedrunning and tries to develop ways to counteract it. A perfect Monster Hunter example is Aerial GS that happened at 2019 MH Festa. Right before the release of Iceborne, they had a Festa. They were using Aerial Greatsword to speedrun that quest, and Ryozo did not like that, and so nerfed Aerial Greatsword. Like, legitimately, what like that? There is a note. They actually added a separate patch after the release patch that specifically targeted Aerial Greatsword, because they're like, oh well, they're just taking advantage of that. I don't like that. But then you have the speedrun communities, or the developers that like cater and pander to speedrunners, and so then it removes the kind of like thought process and like necessity to like try new things and work around obstacles. They just remove those obstacles to make the speedrun more accessible and albeit easier. And then like now you don't want that because there's no challenge to it and there's no growth to it, because your obstacle is just like removed instead of you having to work around it, right? And so like really just like having them like not involved, it means the community gets to decide like how that moves forward, right? We get to choose the rule sets, we get to create rule sets, we get to create how verification gets done, we get to police our own community, and like Capcom doesn't stay involved, but they only benefit from it,
Yeah,
100%.
absolutely, 100%. This was good, guys. I love this. This is dope.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think card games for me has always been something that I wanted to turn into a its own little mini community. But just like Zensei was saying, just like how I said in like the closing ceremony, we're not like really reinventing the wheel, but we are creating and putting something out there that's very unique, and it's probably a culmination of like a lot of different things. And where we go is sky's the limit. There's so many different things that we can do and pivot from this that like I'm very excited to see how exactly we'll be able to evolve from this. Maybe we can even become a venue, an Evo at home, or maybe the next Evo, but Evo for Monster Hunter and stuff like that. There's just so many different things to do, so many things I want to do, and so many things that I hope that we can become. But we'll just see what happens after the next couple of one-off events that we have in the works, and a couple of how CGS3 goes with Wild. So for anyone that's watching this podcast right now, I hope you guys are excited. I hope you guys will continue to support us, and if you guys want to be a part of that, just check us out on the cardgameseries.com website, or you can join the CGS Discord. Either way, you should be able to get your updates from there. In fact, the VODs from Card Game Series from CGS2 should be up in the next, I want to say 30 minutes or so. Same thing with all the full interviews in the playlist. So for anyone that wants to check those out and really get to know the teams that were being interviewed, you guys can check it out there. But just to close it out, you guys want to do like your sign off, let them know where they can find you.
Anybody wants?
Not everyone.
Nobody wants to go first.
All right, Drago, you go first. You go in video
I'm
order.
mostly on Twitch. I think I have everything else linked there, and obviously on the CGS website, I got the link tree set up there. So anywhere you want to find me, I'm there. I should be putting out some YouTube videos if I ever get off my butt. But other than that, just Twitch usually 4 days a week.
Yeah.
Can I also point out something that our amazing showrunner neglected to do?
What's that?
Uh-oh.
We never did introductions.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I
that's
totally forgot to do
now.
introductions.
Oh, wow.
That's when you know
Okay,
I haven't had
okay.
enough coffee.
I'm just sitting here thinking about it. I'm like, Yeah, no one knows who any of us are. Sick.
Yeah, we can edit it in.
I was thinking it, but I thought, maybe I'm just not here enough. Maybe
No,
everyone-
see,
Now
that's
we're
why I
all
wanted to
right.
make sure
Yeah,
that
it's
we
like you
at
guys-
least do this part right, you know, so
Yeah,
everyone knows
let's
who
get-
everyone is
let's
at
get
the
this
end.
part. All right. Well, because I didn't introduce myself earlier, my name has been Jal Bagel, like JAL, the breakfast food. You can find me on Twitch and YouTube at Jal Bagel on both of those, and I predominantly speedrun Monster Hunter games, and also admin the Monster Hunter speedrunning SRC leaderboard. So if you guys are excited to speedrun Wilds, make sure you interact over there, because this is the time that we start making those rules and listening to community feedback and developing that stuff. So now is your chance to get your voice heard on it. So please join us over at MHSR as well.
And then my name is Lumini. You can find me on YouTube. If you need to use the little @ sign, it would be at Lumini_T. And I speedrun Monster Hunter primarily right now. It's a mix between Iceborne and Sunbreak. I use all sorts of different weapons, although I tend to have a flavor that I prefer with each different game. So when Wilds comes out, you're not really going to be seeing Gunlance. You'll probably be seeing... I'm probably going to come back home with Hammer. So
Whoa, Switch Axe.
Best choice.
I don't like how Switch Axe feels right now. That's going to be a video that I'm actually working on right now. My thoughts on the beta. As long as I have the
Switch
recording.
Axe sucks.
Actually, I didn't say that.
Yeah.
I'd be like, look, you already heard this opinion, but I'm just going to say it right now. Switch Axe doesn't feel good. Anyways, you can find me on YouTube. Sometimes I stream on YouTube. I usually try to stream Saturday, sometimes Sunday mornings. But otherwise, if I stream otherwise, then I stream otherwise. But yeah, that's it.
Z, you want to go
How are
next?
you?
Sure, I could go next. So, name is Zeno Marcos. You can find me on Twitch, X/Twitter. I'm still gonna call it Twitter, damn it. YouTube, all under the same name. I don't have much on YouTube, but I'm not gonna lie. After volunteering in this event, it's been an absolute gateway into the Monster Hunter community, and realizing that there's still stuff I would like to do, even if I'm not a speedrunner. There's a lot of casual things. Case in point, with this event, I actually finally delved into Arena Quest and actually learned it's a better tutorial than the actual tutorial the game ever gives to actually learn a weapon, which is interesting. But definitely stuff I would like to do in the future on YouTube, or at the very least, I'll be streaming when Wild comes out. But yeah, I'm definitely volunteering again for the next CGS. If anything happens, I'll be here.
Let's go.
So yeah,
Yippee.
it's only the beginning, y'all.
And my name is Fruitcake. I'm a full-time cosplayer and streamer. And I'm also a plushie collector, as you can probably tell. And I'm a great sword main. So you're probably going to see me holding up a giant sword most of the time, trying to kill monsters and not trying to cart. But I was also one of the interviewers for CGS. And if you can also find me on Twitch at XOFruitcakeOX. And if you like cosplay and stuff, that will be on my Twitter and Instagram. But yeah, Monster Hunter World was my first Monster Hunter, and I'm really excited to see what Wild's gonna be like.
Absolutely. And my name is Zensei. You guys can find me on Twitch and YouTube. I do a lot of Monster Hunter content. I'm a speedrunner at that too as well as a streamer. So you guys can also find me on Twitch, Zensei101. So yeah, man, I just do my best to make sure that I'm bringing in positivity, literally as the name implies. Just Zen vibes, bro. Peace to all. You know what I mean? The world's a tough place, so if we can be a light, hey, do it. You know what I mean? Love it.
Heck yeah. And my name was Nightside. I'm the executive producer of the card game series and a variety caster on Twitch. You guys can find me at twitch.tv/LNightsideL. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning into this roundtable, and I hope you guys will be excited for what we have in store for you guys. So that has been a roundtable. Bye everyone.
Bye, internet.
Later.
Goodbye, twitch.tv/LNightsideL.
I'll be judging your runs later.
Oh my god.
Wild CGS.